questions about how he handled classified information earlier this year.
Former National Security Advisor Mike Waltz took the blame for mistakenly inviting a journalist on a group signal chat about airstrikes in Iran. Now is the nominee for UN ambassador. Waltz is facing questions about his handling of sensitive information.
Again, Senator, I think where we have a fundamental disagreement is there was no classified information on that chat.
Waltz says the White House concluded an investigation into the use of signal by administration officials, and the Pentagon still has an open investigation. Waltz stepped down as National Security Advisor in May when President Trump announced he would be nominated for the UN post.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Waltz also telling senators reform is needed at the UN, as Democrats warn cuts in U.S. funding could have long-term impacts. President Trump now plans a major address on artificial intelligence next Wednesday. Fox confirms the president will outline his vision for ensuring American dominance in AI and is expected to sign an executive order to implement policies in the administration's upcoming AI action plan. Today, he's set to unveil billions of dollars in investments to help support the energy and infrastructure needed for AI at a summit in Pennsylvania. Congress facing a Friday deadline to finish work on a bill that would rescind billions in funding previously approved.
GOP leaders are not sure they have the votes. President Trump is warning Republicans that he will not support them if they oppose the bill. Some Republicans are torn over public broadcasting, especially as it serves rural areas. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer helped Republicans avoid a government shutdown earlier this year. He is warning the GOP that Democrats will not help them fund the government this fall unless Republicans stop the bill this week.
Fox's Chad Pergram on the Hill. America is listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Partly sunny skies, very humid, 89, and there is a little uptick in scattered thunderstorms, some with heavy downpours of rain and lightning. Partly cloudy tonight, 74. Nothing but summertime Wednesday and Thursday, mainly sunny. Each day could bring a spot afternoon storm, but tough to find. It's hot and it is humid Wednesday and Thursday, each day near 95. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. We have a great show headed up here for you. Dana Perino is going to join us in about 15 minutes from now, and we are going to talk about a story that kind of came about right there towards the end of our show yesterday. I'm sure you've heard about it quite a bit so far on 97.1, but a big development from the Supreme Court surrounding the Department of Education. And when you're thinking about the future of school choice, possibly when you're thinking about if you love public school and you want to keep your kids in public school, the reforming of public school, just to get back to education, just to get back to the math test scores that we want to see, the literacy numbers that we want to see. Yesterday was a huge step forward for the Trump administration's efforts in that.
The Supreme Court today said President Donald Trump may proceed with his plans to carry out mass layoffs at the Department of Education in the latest win for the White House. The justice is lifting a lower court ruling that put an indefinite pause on Trump's plan while legal challenges play out. Trump ordered mass layoffs at the department earlier this year, cutting its workforce in half, but lower courts have blocked that effort, noting that the Education Department was created by Congress. In a scathing dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor called the decision, quote, indefensible.
So that was the reaction from the Supreme Court ruling yesterday, an NBC report. And it'll be important to understand exactly what this means. Does that mean, did the Supreme Court rule that the Department of Education is no more? No. Not so much. Gregg Jarrett will join us at 1:30, and he's going to give us the legalese behind exactly what that ruling means, what step this might put the Trump administration into taking next, because certainly this isn't the end game for the president, his administration, and their efforts to try to reform education in our country. Linda McMahon is the Secretary of Education and of the Department of Education, and she's been very vocal, obviously, about what the goal is and what this ruling might mean.
What is your reaction, and what does this actually mean for this process?
Well, thank you very much, Martha, for having me on. This is a real victory, I think, for the future of American education. And I was so pleased with the Supreme Court's ruling today, and it just really reemphasized the fact that the president, clearly, of the United States is the head of the executive branch, and he's the one that has the ultimate authority over staffing levels, administrative organization, et cetera. And through his appointees, which are the secretaries that head these agencies, he expects those orders to be carried out. And so I'm just incredibly pleased that the authority was reinstated where it should be. Which is back with the president and with me in this particular instance as Secretary of Education. This lifts the handcuffs off of what we've been trying to do, which really is to get education back to the states where the president believes it does belong. The best education is that closest to the student.
Amen to that. Listening to Secretary McMahon talk about returning education back to the states. Is public education going away? No, it's just going back to the hands of the states to regulate. Now, if you're in the state of Missouri, you're going, hooray. This is fantastic news. You trust your legislature, probably at least more than the folks in the state of Illinois do, to get this one right. But if you're in the state of Illinois, you're thinking, this is a disaster. I would trust a Republican federal government to oversee this more than I would the blue state legislature that is in the state of Illinois. Well, here's the deal, folks. You can much easier, contact your state legislator, your senator, your state representative, and say, what the heck are you doing? Look at the literacy rates in this state. Look at the education that children in Illinois are getting compared to other states, compared to the rest of the world. You are not cutting it, and something needs to change. What are you going to do about it? That's why the more local the government, the better. And should public education continue to be provided? Of course it should. Of course it should. But it can't be a place where indoctrination sets in. It can't be a place where the people who control the power because they have the money, because they have the power, in the NEA, in the other teachers' unions that exist, it can't be a place where their political bent seeps into what is approved inside the classroom. Now, I've been looking at this, and if we didn't have such a strong cabinet, such a strong president, such a strong goal, moving at a rapid pace right now in Washington, D.C., I don't know that I would be thinking about this, but I almost want to challenge. This is not realistic as an end goal, but think about this for a second. As a method to explain your point. I grew up in a time where religion was still somewhat present if needed, if it was, maybe adherent to the teacher in the classroom or whatever. But I grew up initially when religion in the classroom wasn't something that was completely and totally absent. And then I would say probably around junior high school, mid-90s, late 90s into the year 2000 or so, there was a huge focus on separation of church and state, get religion out of schools. There shouldn't be praying in schools. Who's sanctioning that? Trying to work very hard to remove God, any evidence anywhere inside the classroom of any sort of religious affiliation. My recollection is that in my lifetime, there have been public schools that had prayer in them. And you could participate or you could not participate. It was up to you to sit there in your desk and be like, I'm not praying to this. This is not my thing. It wasn't forced. It wasn't graded, but it was included. And that has, in the last 40 years, changed significantly. But we didn't just say, no, we're not going to indoctrinate people on these types of belief systems. What we've said is we're not going to do that belief system. We're going to do this belief system. We're going to put in a belief system not backed by science in any way, shape, or form, which, again, is the same argument that they would use towards creationism. If you wanted to teach science in a public school and creationism was included in the conversation, that was very often talked about as indoctrination. You can't base it in science. Science says the earth is billions of years old or whatever. That's the way it is. That's the way it goes. Well, to the other side, when that pendulum swings to the other side, if science says there are two sexes, then why are we using classroom time paid by the taxpayer who doesn't have a say specifically in what is going on in that classroom? Why are we teaching that there are more than two? If it's not backed by science, why is it in there? Well, that's because that's what people believe. Listen, you can believe whatever you want. People know what I believe here. Of course, I talk about being a Christian. A lot of you probably think that I'm very naive and gullible to think that the fantasy of, some sort of all-powerful God created the whole world. I understand. It makes sense to me that there are people who hear that and go, Annie, that's cute. That's fine. You have a right to believe what you want, but I have a right to believe what I want. In our school systems, kids don't have a right to their own belief system, and the money that flows through the teachers' unions, the money that flows through into the school districts has a belief system. And we've been told for the last 20 years that that belief system is necessary in the classroom to educate your children. To the extent where we keep hearing that they're not your children, they are all of our children. Big red flag. Now, you know how much I advocate for parochial school, Lutheran schools specifically. I went mostly to Lutheran schools. I did go to public school for a year. I went to a public college. I send my kids to Lutheran schools. My husband teaches in a public school. I think that the education of our kids, we don't have to even get into belief systems to look at the numbers, the test scores that are coming out of public education classrooms to say, we have to fix something here. We have to refocus what we're investing in here because the kids are not all right. They are not in a position right now where, this belief system has been injected into the classroom, but the kids are doing great. The scores are through the roof. They've never been better. That's not the case. Strip it all out. Take the belief systems out. Teach science, teach math, teach reading comprehension and literacy and grammar. Teach these kids the things they know to be productive adults once they graduate, and good people, I might add. Does this Supreme Court ruling seem like a positive turn of events for you? It certainly does for me. It's a step. Gregg Jarrett will tell us at 1:30 exactly what that might manifest into, what the next step will be. Linda McMahon has said, she said on Fox earlier this morning, when she was talking, I think, to Harris Faulkner, she said, I want to eliminate the bureaucracy. And when she said that, I thought, well, that's interesting. That doesn't sound like you want to eliminate the department. You want to eliminate the bureaucracy that's dragging down public education at the benefit of the people who have a stake in it, the teachers' unions, not the teachers. The teachers are suffering under the teachers' unions that don't even represent them. They just want to collect power. We're going to talk with Dana Perino next. I know she cares deeply about the education standards of students in our country, and I'm going to give her the opportunity to react to this and discuss it. And also, I want to know from her, our YouTube live chat poll for today is, can blue states be saved? Had a pretty viral tweet over the weekend with a conversation we had with Congresswoman Mary Miller. And she said that, hey, folks, in Illinois, even if just gun owners, if 2A supporters voted in that election for Republicans, we could win. It is possible we could win. In light of that, you've got states like New York, California, and, of course, my home state of Illinois. You've got a socialist running for mayor in New York. How far has the Democrat Party gone, and can these blue states be saved? Yes, no, or keep them blue. Got to put something in there for you folks, too. Let's take a quick break. Dana Perino next. The Dittamore Group, Tammy, Zach, Pat, Abby, and Trisha, a great team, the best team, I might add. If you're listing your home, if you're thinking about listing your home, the market is kind of crazy. You need somebody who is well-versed, who understands the ebbs and flows of the market and how to list your home for top dollar, to make sure that it is presented in a way that's going to compete, but also to be realistic with you. It's key when you're hiring a realtor that you have somebody who prioritizes honesty. Kindness is great. Of course, you want to build a relationship with this person, but you need somebody who's going to give you the straight facts, the truth, so that you can get the best deal. The Dittamore Group is ready to serve you in that capacity. 618-531-4652. 618-531-4652. They have 50-plus years of experience at the Dittamore Group, and they are the #1 team and the #1 office here in the Metro East. In Missouri and Illinois alike, call the Dittamore Group at 618-531-4652. TheDittamoreGroup.com.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Range. It's the Annie Frey Show.
The National Education Association claims Americans are unhappy about the U.S. Supreme Court ruling and put out this statement. Take a look. Do they speak for you? I don't know. Pay attention. America's educators and parents won't be silent as Donald Trump, with the support of the MAGA Supreme Court, strips our students, our families, our communities of protections and funding that Congress has mandated. But a recent Gallup poll says, no. Here are the facts. It found that just 24% of Americans are satisfied with the state of American public education. 73% are not.
Well, there's Harris Faulkner reporting on that Supreme Court ruling from yesterday saying that the Trump administration can, in fact, go ahead on their efforts to reform, if not eliminate, the Department of Education. I want to bring our guest on with us to talk about this. Dana Perino joins us once again, the co-anchor of America's Newsroom, co-host of The Five, host of Perino on Politics, and author of her latest, greatest book, I Wish Someone Had Told Me. Dana Perino, welcome back to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I was pretty excited to hear about that ruling yesterday from the Supreme Court. I am one that sends my kids to a parochial school, and I pay a ton of property tax dollars in the state of Illinois. Would like to be able to
bet you do.
Yeah, to use that for my own kids. When you see this ruling from the Supreme Court yesterday, what kind of reaction did you have?
Well, I feel like it's a lot of these issues. It's interesting, and if I go back to when I started my career in politics, I was a press secretary on Capitol Hill in the mid-'90s. These issues were kind of still bubbling up, then just sort of like starting really to bubble to the surface. Okay, then it's become boiling over the pot over the last several years and the last couple of administrations. And it takes a while, unfortunately, but also it's just our system for things to work its way up to the Supreme Court. And now what you have is a series of decisions at the Supreme Court level that are going in the direction of parental rights and school choice. And I think that that's obviously a very positive development. But what's interesting, too, is this is coming at a time when the big, beautiful bill included a $1,700 tax credit for families like yours if your state allows it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen in
Illinois.
Illinois.
Caveat, right?
Yeah.
But for, like, let's say that you're a family in Georgia and you want to send your kid to parochial school or maybe a charter school or even do homeschooling, your accountant should know that they not only do you have the protection of the Supreme Court to do what you want to do as you raise your children and how you educate them, but there is now a tax credit there so that you can get a little bit of relief for the costs that you're paying in addition to the property taxes that you have to pay.
Amen to that. Dana Perino speaking with us right now. But even in the midst of, I come every day and work in a blue city in St. Louis, but in a red state of Missouri, and I live in the blue city or blue state of Illinois in the red southern part of Illinois. It makes a lot of sense, though, for President Trump to say put this back on the states, because I think that I have a clearer, faster line to the people in the state of Illinois who are serving in the legislature to try to pressure them to make change. So that's a benefit of this.
It is. And I always have said that local government is the hardest government. Okay, meaning it's the hardest to deal with. My Aunt Patty Sue was the mayor of Rawlins, Wyoming for many years. And it's not like in D.C. where you say, okay, we're going to spend $1 trillion on this, and then you walk away and you hope that people spend the money well. If you're the mayor, then you're getting the grant for $6,502, and you have to make sure that the playground equipment is going to be delivered on time, installed correctly and safely, and then you're going to have to see the constituents at the grocery store. And so, I always say that like local government is the toughest government, but it's also the most effective. And so, you want to have good people there. Now, you could have a state like New York, where I live in de Blasio's administration. De Blasio gave his wife $1 billion in taxpayer money to use to help the homeless situation. When he left, after his term ended, guess what? Nobody knew where any of that money was. It was untraceable. So it's not always foolproof, but in many cases, in my opinion, it is the most effective type of government, the closer you are to the people.
Yeah. Amen. And I think that that's something that really needs to empower grassroots movements in states like mine in Illinois, yours in New York, for actual effective change. It does seem like, listening to Harris Faulkner read those numbers with that Gallup poll, that the state of education in our country right now is abysmal, and people know it.
Well, that's my obsession, Annie. In fact, this past week, when everybody's been fighting about an issue that is in the past, our K through 12 education in America is so abysmal. And especially in big cities, you will have many children who cannot read or do basic math at their grade level, and they get passed along. And there's no way that they can compete. I met a guy 2 weeks ago, just by chance, African-American guy. He was talking to his friends, and he had some really interesting takes on the Diddy trial. Okay, so I just said, can I ask you, like, where do you get your news? And he said, I didn't learn to read till I was 25 when I was in prison. And the fact is, like, my friend Paul Morrow, who you've probably seen on Fox News, he'd be a great guest for you someday. He's retired NYPD, and he said that If you go to Rikers prison, you could pick. He said, 8 out of 10 of those guys that are there never learn to read. And so what are we doing to our kids? So when Bernie Sanders and everybody wants to talk about free community college, I just want to pull my hair out, because you wouldn't need free community college. I'm not against free community college. But if you're going to not educate people in the K through 12 era, then don't come to me with community college nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a nice handout, and it just doesn't have any sensibility to it.
You mentioned something else about grassroots movements. I do think that on the parental rights side of things, one, we can be grateful that we have a conservative Supreme Court. That was, at first, many people might not like Mitch McConnell, but whatever. To me, I'm like, look at what he did. And he stuck to his guns, and he said, no, we are not going to put through Merrick Garland. Can you imagine if he was a Supreme Court justice after him being Attorney General? So you have the conservative movement on that front. But what else did you have? You had parents who went to all the school board meetings, especially during COVID, and said, no more. And now you're starting to see that as well, especially with moms and dads who are sticking up for girls in girls' sports.
Yeah. How did the Democrat movement become so aggressively progressive in that these obvious, we've talked about 80-20 issues for a year now probably, and some of them lean over 80%. But the things that you're listing here, like, you don't have to even know what your politics are to see the common sense here.
It's very interesting. Years ago, there was a great book I'd highly recommend to people. It's been a while, so people I think have kind of forgotten about it. It's written by Jonah Goldberg, who's now at the Dispatch, I guess. It's called Liberal Fascism. And he goes through and he says, even though the left will always call the right fascist, if you actually look at the policy perspectives and the approaches of progressives, that is liberal fascism. And what happens is they'll get very patient, right? They'll have a goal. Let's say it's, universal health care. And they'll just be very patient. And, well, guess what's happened, Annie? Look at it right now. What's happening on health care? Oh, now the Republicans are talking about expanding Obamacare. Why? The people want it. Why do the people want it? Because they think it's a better deal for them, yes, but also because no one else is putting forward a better idea. I think that's what's happening on the left, is that you have a younger generation like Mamdani, for example, AOC. They are very clever in their use of language. They absolutely know how to communicate to people, and they say things that sound good to people. But what's happened is Republicans have been like, but that doesn't make any sense. And so we are, thankfully, in an era of common sense. And I think that ultimately will win the day. But make no mistake, they start to get a little bit of a foothold, and then they move forward. And then all of a sudden, it's like all of a sudden Republicans are defending Obamacare. And that's what happens. And that book, Liberal Fascism, goes through not just the history of it, but what we could expect in the future. And he nailed it.
Yeah, I appreciate that recommendation. I want to talk about another book recommendation here in just a second. But before I get to that, it just so happened this past Sunday at church, my pastor brought up right before September 11th happened, an initiative by the Bush administration, which were the faith-based initiatives, and said it was a big thing. He was one of the pastors who was brought to D.C. to weigh in on this. And when we're talking about solutions for people, I think the left is like, there's a government solution for that, no matter what. It's like the new there's an app for that. But now I feel like the Republicans could really have a strong message in encouraging nonprofits, religious organizations to really step up to the plate and say, yeah, we can all point at the same problem and say these problems do exist. We have to differ on where the solution is because the government clearly isn't solving the problem. Would you like to see the faith-based initiative idea get a new push?
See, what's interesting is, so when President Bush was governor of Texas, and even before that, even before he even ran for Congress, he, in Decision Points, in his autobiography, he writes about how the most important decision he ever made was his decision to give up drinking. And the way that he gave up drinking was to turn it over to God and ask for help. And he always maintained that, yes, government should be there to help people, but government can't heal a heart. It's impossible. That's not what government is for. And so he started faith-based initiatives because for many years, decades, they had been prevented from getting government grants in order to do some programs like drug prevention, or addiction services. And so we had the faith-based initiative. It was very, very popular and successful. When Obama came in, he eliminated the office. Trump came back. Trump comes into office, he puts it back. Biden comes in, they take it away again. And now it's back. And so I would like to see maybe Congress step forward and provide more of a law, because we're being whipsawed on the executive branch having to take on the responsibilities of a legislative branch that refuses to do its work. Yeah. I think that's true in immigration, school choice, all of these issues, because Congress actually doesn't do anything except for pass a big spending bill once a year. And so I would absolutely love to see more of a faith-based foundation that could be backed up by the Supreme Court, and then you could have more of a pipeline so that a program that might take 2 or 3 years to get off the ground isn't cut off at the knees when there's a new administration.
Yeah, that's very smart. And I would love to see that happen, because there's a lot of help that can be provided. And it takes too long to wait for government to show up and at least make the attempt to solve a lot of these problems.
Yeah.
Dana Perino is here with us. Her latest book, I Wish Someone Had Told Me. I love how quick you can consume this book that you put together with all of these anecdotes from different people that a lot of us who watch Fox News regularly are connected with the people you're connected with. It makes it a little extra personal because we feel like we know these people.
Yeah,
But you put this book together. It's advice that you had asked people for, maybe in interviews or in your real experience. I would almost think you're probably ready to write a second book that's part 2 of this.
You know what's interesting? My other book, Everything Will Be Okay, was very much targeted to women going through their quarter life crisis. And I love that book. And it came out right after COVID, so March of 2021, and it's called Everything Will Be Okay. And even though I'd come up with the title months before COVID, people thought I did it because of COVID. And even to this day, people are still reading that book, Women. But I felt post-COVID and with the new new approaches to being in the office or hybrid work and AI, that there was time for an update. So the way I tried to write it was in a way that would be more like scrollable content. So if you are going through your phone on Instagram and blah, 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 that's kind of how the book reads. So you get the little snippets and you can set it down, pick it back up. I had a woman this weekend staying with me who used to be a government lawyer. She worked for the the Secret Service. But she has a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and she decided to stay home. And she said it almost tore her in two. Yeah. And she was really upset. She's like, I worked really hard to be a lawyer to do this. And I said, have you read Michelle Chase's advice in the new book? And she hadn't. And I said, look, all you have to do is go to page whatever it is, and all of it's right there. So you don't have to read the entire book start to finish, though you're welcome to. But if you just need a little bit of what was that advice about what I should do if I'm going to stay home and raise my children? Oh, okay. And you can go to it. And I love that about this book.
Yeah, 100%. Dana Perino and her book, I Wish Someone Had Told Me, is out right now. Last question for you, and we're going to let you go. You are huge into mentorship. You have talked about mentors you've had and people that you've mentored. To me, it's kind of like an old practice that really needs to be brought back. Obviously, books are there for folks like me and others to source. But what is your advice to people who think, you know what, I really could use a mentor? What should they do?
Well, this is a great question. To me, Annie, there's a big gap in supply and demand for mentors to people who are looking for advice, which is one of the reasons I wrote the books, because I recognize that I can't have lunch and coffee with everybody that is asking me for help. So I'm like, here's all your advice, but there's nothing like that human connection. And also, to me, there's nothing like being able to help a young person in their career. I find tremendous satisfaction and personal growth for myself when I do that. So for anybody listening who is in the position of being a mentor, I highly recommend it. I'll give you one example. Fox Ad Sales was going to do an event with me with my book. And they said, are you okay with that? And I said, I am, with under one condition. Anybody who's coming that's one of our clients has to bring somebody who they are mentoring. And you kind of have to force people to do that. Bring these young people along. I'm very concerned that AI is taking over the entry-level job, which means that there are young people who are leaving high school, community college, trade school, or college and coming to work, and they don't have any idea what they're doing. And so it's incumbent upon us to not let the robots try to take over.
Amen. Yeah. Do you learn from your mentorees?
Oh my gosh, yes. I have my assistant now is Kate DePietro. A year ago, I nicknamed her as a joke, TikTok Kate, and now everybody knows her. But every day we learn from each other, and we've been on this journey that is just so fun. And yeah, it's definitely mutual. Like, for example, I didn't even know what Love Island was until this week. Now I know. And she's out there laughing and giggling, but now I know what Love Island is. I mean, I was out of the loop, Annie.
Not
All of
anymore.
America's watching a show I'd never heard of.
Yeah, that is. There's definitely a lot to learn across generations, of course, and it does definitely. And it's a must read from Dana Perino. I read your Everything's Gonna Be Okay book. I was pregnant with my fourth child, and
I remember.
I was laying on the floor in the doctor's office taking a glucose test, and I just listened to that book, and I thought everything's gonna be okay. It was
And look
great.
at you.
Yeah,
Everything
here we
is
are.
okay, right?
It is all because of you, Dana Perino. We
No,
appreciate it.
The truth is, like, all because of God, really.
Amen to that.
And if you
as
think
well.
about, like, just when you feel overwhelmed, if you just remember that, everything will be okay.
Psalm 46:10, be still. That's my
Yeah.
that's the advice
Oh,
that
I love
that's the advice that I always
Yes.
need to calm down.
And with 4 little ones, you need it.
Dana Perino, a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for being
Annie,
with us.
I'll come back sooner, okay?
Okay, absolutely.
Okay.
Done.
Take care.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Brad, mark that down. Tomorrow at 12:15.
I'm on it.
She is one of my absolute favorites. So always love to speak with her. And truly, I know we're kind of maybe past graduation gift time, but we're also very close to time to send them away to college time. Send them with this book. Give them a hard copy so that they can. I get nothing if she sells out of all of her books after this interview. I get zero from it, other than the satisfaction of knowing that something that I have used myself, I can pass along to you and say this is a really great source of information from things as practical as like how to dress when you go to the office to understanding intra-office types of relationships, how to present yourself in a confident way, how to learn from mistakes and roll with it. That was the Everything Will Be Okay book that I was talking about reading in 2021. But this one, it really is anecdotes over and over and over again. She's got stuff in there from Bill Hemmer, Brett Baer, Trey Gowdy. Those are some that off the top at the very beginning, but it goes through and it just walks you through advice. And these are highly successful people. They understand what they're talking about. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's see here. We're going to talk a little bit about the YouTube live chat poll quickly when we come back. Can blue states be saved? Yes, no, or keep them blue? Annie Frey YouTube channel to vote in the live chat poll. And you can stream us live on the Odyssey app, too. Take us wherever you go after lunch. Pop on the Odyssey app and find 97.1. Don't miss a thing. We'll be right back.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one.
STS-armory.com. If you are like me, a Second Amendment supporter in the state of Illinois, you have your conceal and carry, and the timing is about up where you're going to need to get a renewal. STS Armory is going to guide you and make you feel comfortable and educate you and also help you get that licensure renewed. I am going to be honest and say I don't love having to like be somewhere for hours upon hours to do something that the government tells me I have to do. I get all that. But you understand in the state of Illinois, this is what you have to do to be a law-abiding citizen. And when I went to the renewal class at STS Armory, I was like glued to every word that Jesse was saying in the instruction. It was very helpful, and I would recommend people go and take these classes just so that you can become a more responsible gun owner, be a more responsible, or effective at your craft of being able to shoot. These are the people who are in your corner, and they understand the law and they understand the requirements, and they're going to get you there as fast as they can with the right information that you need. Find them in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, at their brand new location, beautiful red building, or online at sts-armory.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with news for listeners who, like me, want to learn more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club is coming to St. Louis later this summer. The Bitcoin Ben Crypto Clubs teach members what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to safely store it, and how to avoid scams. And we'll connect with others like us who want to learn more about crypto. St. Louis will be the 7th club nationwide and Ben's hometown. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, you need to know Bitcoin Ben. Learn more at bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesiderv.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes to the IRS. Billions in tax relief is now being made available to struggling taxpayers, giving thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in savings away to those who qualify. If you're facing wage garnishment, threatening letters, audits, liens, levies, or already in a payment plan, you can now expedite the resolution to your tax problem, end collections, and even qualify to reduce a large portion of what you owe. Stop IRS Debt has established a relief hotline for you to call to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-317-1890. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-317-1890. 800-317-1890. 800-317-1890.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: can blue states be saved? The options: yes, no, or for the Democrats in here, keep them blue. We are also going to be giving away some Creed tickets later in the show, so if there wasn't reason to already stay tuned in, there's another one for you. The time is 12:41. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Born in the Midwest, built on common sense. FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. The blue states and the red states, there are fewer, in my opinion, super dark blue. Harris Faulkner, because she lives in New Jersey, she always refers to him as cobalt blue. And I just think that's a pretty vision, except for the fact that that means the state politics suck. It seems as though there are fewer states that are super hardcore blue. For instance, the state of Florida was single-handedly responsible for choosing the president of the United States with the hanging chads in 2000 between George W. Bush and Al Gore because it was such a purple state. However purple you can get, was it hundreds or thousands of votes? I mean, it was teeny tiny margin. It goes to Supreme Court. The rest is history. Florida is like the reddest state there is. They're the party where the Florida Republican Party, they're the ones who have the act together the most. They count the votes the fastest. They're the third largest state by population, I think. California, Texas, Florida.
I think so.
I mean, we need to be following the Florida model. Illinois has got a way to go because we're super, super blue. California is super, super blue. That's not changing. Not anytime soon.
You got to believe, Annie.
But it could go you could throw a tinge of red in there and it turns a little purple.
Yeah.
And I think this tweet that I had from this weekend of Mary Miller being on the show saying Illinois has the votes. We have the people. They just need to show up and vote. You need to show up and vote. And if you're sitting here saying, Annie, I vote every time, well, then you need to go find people who don't vote, who are also not happy with the situation, and you need to get them to vote. The predictability, and now the other thing that I see a lot, and I don't know. I think it ended up with over 1,000 retweets, which for our little account in our tiny corner of X is a pretty significant deal. People are like, doesn't matter. You can't beat the cheat. Do you feel that in the state of Illinois? Ethan, you used to be, and you fled to the red state.
Sure did. Don't regret it for a second. Listen
to that. Listen to that. Chip on his shoulder.
It's hard. It's hard to know, right? You'd like to believe, right, that if the votes are there, that things can change, and we have seen that. We saw that in the 2024 election in certain areas of the country, right, where people were fed up and they were over the BS that you'd been hearing, shoving all this agenda about the Democratic Party down your throats, and people got tired of it, and things started to change, right? That's why President Trump got voted in. That's why you saw certain areas of the country that had traditionally been blue go red. So, out of a hope, right, that things can change, I would like to say that yes, it's not too far gone, and that, Illinois can eventually, I don't know what would have to happen, like you said, for it to entirely turn red, but you'd like to hope, right, that it's not too far gone, right?
Well, I think it's savable. Of course I think it's savable, especially when the Democrat Party sounds like this. For instance, Gavin Newsom, who is not running for governor again, right? Didn't he say he's not running for governor again? Isn't he?
Right.
So there are people who are throwing their hat in the ring. What's going to happen next for governor? Maybe it'll be Harris Faulkner. And that's kind of like California taking one for the team so that she doesn't have to run again for the presidency. Although I, for one, would applaud her. I'll donate to her campaign if she wants to be the one to run again. Here's Gavin Newsom. This is what Gavin Newsom is top 3, I would think, of national figures who run the Democratic Party, who are leading the Democrat Party.
What about for your values? I mean, is 8 years old too young?
Yeah, I mean, look, I now that I have a 9-year-old, just became 9. Come on, man, I get it. So those are legit. It's interesting. Just the issue of age. It's interesting.
He can't finish a sentence. Sean Ryan is asking him if 8 years old is too young to determine that the child would need a sex change. All that he has said right now is that he has a 9-year-old. If saying I have a 9-year-old is immediately not followed by hell no, an 8-year-old can't make that decision, then this guy is the reddest red flag that there has ever been.
As someone that's been so focused on equality, broadly, LGBT rights, particularly gay marriage.
Mm-hmm.
He's just saying words.
Yeah,
He's just saying words. He's like LGBT, transgender, equality, equity. You buying equity?
There's such I have to say partially what I believe while also fitting the narrative of what my voters want. They're you don't know who the real Gavin Newsom is, which is super frustrating.
You do.
This is the real Gavin Newsom,
the real
right?
Gavin. Yeah, he's trying to please as many people as possible because he has no principles to stand on. He just wants to be the president.
The trans issue for me is also now.
Okay, you can't see the hands. You can't see the
mystical hands. Jazz hands.
Tyra said one time that he was trying to signal relational advances. He walks through, it's the weirdest thing ever. You can find it on X, but he has 2 hand gestures for every word.
It's over the last few years. I'm trying to understand as much as anyone else. Whole pronoun thing, trying to understand all of that. That was the hell. I mean, all that.
These
stuff.
aren't sentences.
I get it. All this stuff started collapsing.
He says, "I get it." There is one thing that I'm certain about here. You, sir, do not get it.
I'm not even listening to him. I'm just looking at his hand gestures.
Yeah, which I think is the point.
It's working.
It's on me. I joked with Charlie about Latinx.
Gosh, we're so screwed if this guy launches out of California and somehow or another ends up in the federal government. Lord have mercy. The question for you is, can blue states be saved from that? Yes, no, or keep them blue. Go and vote. Go and vote in that right now and give me some hope. I'll give you some more details about how Illinois can be saved about 1:20 on the show. Next up, Wiggins America, Ethan edition. What did you say? Younger, handsomer, better?
Something like that.
Something like that. We'll be right back. AirComfortService.com. It's toasty outside, not as bad as it has been, but it has certainly been a warm summer. Make sure that you have the best of the best coming in to check your HVAC unit to make sure it's functioning properly. You can anticipate the fact that, okay, the life of a normal HVAC unit is going to be X. I don't know what it is. Ours was about 22 years, which was the one that came with the original build of the house, not when we moved into it. And everything starts to kind of deteriorate after 2 decades. When we had to replace our air conditioner, I called Air Comfort Service. When we had to replace our furnace, I called Air Comfort Service. And they came out, they assessed the situation, and they said, here are the costs to replace. This is the cost to fix it. Now, they gave us both, and the cost to fix it was certainly less than the cost to replace, but you got to make this decision based on what's best for your budget. You can try to anticipate the fact that, gosh, if I have this looked at, the maintenance checked on the AC unit right now, you could potentially avoid costly repairs by doing the proper maintenance that nobody is thinking about doing on their own. You've got too many things on your plate. You're not thinking about air conditioner maintenance. But Air Comfort Services, and they're ready to help you. 314-513-0091, aircomfortservice.com.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101. Or visit fta-ria.com and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
Mark Cox doesn't fake it. He's lived it here in St. Louis. Pro-freedom, pro-family, pro-truth. If it matters to Missouri, it matters to Mark. Mark Cox, mornings on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
When disaster strikes, the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis is there. Tornadoes have left families displaced and communities in crisis, but you can help. The Urban League Tornado Disaster Relief Humanitarian Fund provides emergency shelter, food, clothing, and critical support to those affected. Your donation brings hope when it's needed most. Visit ulstl.com to donate. That's ulstl.com. Stand with us. Stand for St. Louis.
God, remember when the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Pile were flying around the arch selling flooring?
Andrea, that was the Queen of Carpet and the Princess of Tile.
Oh, that's right. But we don't need shtick here at Best Buy Flooring.
That's right, because our in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile are already at low, low prices.
Come see us at our 3 area locations, North County, South County, and Metro East. Open 7 days a week.
Plus, free financing on approved credit. Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
With conviction and clarity, The Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Not Wiggins America, Ethan's America. Ethan's America.
It's important that people understand that when Ryan Wiggins takes some days off and Ethan fills in on Wiggins America, that was made by Ryan for Ethan.
Yeah. He does have a certain kind of power over me, even when he isn't here.
Does he have a power over you?
Well, when he gets to play stuff like that, even when he's not here.
Yeah.
And, you know,
He certainly exerts every ounce that he can get.
I cannot wait to see what, you know, for my local segment later this afternoon, what is going to be playing this week. I really enjoyed yesterday's. Yesterday may have even been my favorite.
It was nice.
And I wasn't
Something about you being handsome.
I wasn't even here. Yeah, you know, I kind of got like the butterflies.
Aw.
Like Ryan called me handsome.
Local news at 2:18 today.
I did actually ask Ryan, you know, hey, any thoughts on, you know, Wiggins America subjects while you're gone? And he gave me this one, and he was very clear. He said, you need to study these.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then I read the article. I was like, you jerk. 6 signs that your coworkers don't like you.
Oh, Ryan.
So mean.
Wiggins.
So I'm going to go through these, and, well, I guess we'll figure out, actually, if Ryan doesn't like me or if any of us
I just
don't like
think
each
that
other.
Ryan might not have thought this one through. Go on.
Number 1, they rarely include you in group discussions. While it's not necessary they always discuss their personal matters with you, make sure they inform you about all team meetings. They give you a chance to talk to them about new strategies or projects. Not involving you may happen for various reasons, like they may feel like you rarely contribute, or they are trying to determine if it's just your assumption. Consider talking to them openly about your feelings.
Oh, I was kind of with it until the end.
No feelings.
None. Don't
Zero.
bring him to work.
Don't bring him to work.
Don't bring him to work.
So what is the alternative?
Address the situation and see what needs to be done to make it better.
Yeah, but that could include your feelings, couldn't it? Doesn't
No.
have to, though.
It's bottom line, what needs to be done to make the product the best, to make the team work the most. And if you feel like you're being excluded, be like, hey, if there's something I'm not doing here, if I need to step it up, let me know what I can do to contribute.
Last I checked, us 3 were in a group chat this morning that Ryan was not in.
There's a bunch of things
correctly.
happening without him here. He excluded himself, though.
Number 2 here, they show negative body language when talking to you. So examples like this may look, if they keep looking around when you speak in meetings, might be a sign they're not interested in what you're contributing.
Like just everywhere but at you.
Mm-hmm. When they turn to their side or back when you're passing by their desk. That's another example. That's really intense.
I think we're a little past subtleties in that regard.
You know, maybe, you know, that is kind of maybe it's just a coincidence, but every time that I walk by Ryan's office,
he dives
has
under his
turned
desk.
away from
Yes.
me, and usually like face deep in like some chicken nuggets or like a burger or
Not
something
work.
like that. No, never
Food.
work. Hey, Ryan at work. Good one. Let's see. What's the 850? Okay. All right. The next one, they never celebrate your successes. Colleagues who celebrate your successes can make you feel really comfortable at work. When you notice that other members of your team never congratulate you or appreciate your hard work.
Have you ever heard when we get an award on the show how he treats me?
I've heard it. Usually in a pretty
We
sarcastic
could
manner.
play some of them for you.
Oh, we could
later on the
we could
show.
probably have a whole segment.
We should just roast Ryan while he's gone.
Oh, I mean, I thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah, we could just do it more in the 2:00 hour.
I'm all about this. I'm a huge fan. I'm
Yeah.
a huge pro roast.
This show gets acknowledged by awards here and there every once in a while, and he cannot wait to tell the world about it.
Yeah.
We're like the 6th most listened or something midday local show, and he's like, could have been top 5, but
we weren't.
But we were. Wonder why that is.
Wiggins being Wiggins.
Yeah.
Do we want to do another one here before we wrap?
One more quick one.
Okay. They avoid working with you. If you notice your colleagues seem unhappy when your supervisor
That's what he's doing right now.
asks them to collaborate with you on tasks, you may ask them about it directly. Good technique is to explain that you care about maintaining a healthy atmosphere at work and ask if you've done anything to offend them. In some instances, they may behave this way simply because they're uncomfortable when working with anyone and prefer performing tasks on their own.
Yeah, just talk about it. Talk about the work, not the feelings. No?
Sure.
Are you a feelings guy?
It depends on the situation, how severe it is.
All right, Jim Carafano and Gregg Jarrett in the next hour. Don't go away. Let's talk. It's very important that you understand how Home Shield Foundation is able to give you information before they are interested in taking your money. Now, of course, if you want to fix the unleveled concrete in your house and your garage at work, that you are in charge of this building and the property, and you want to make sure that nobody's tripping on it. That's a huge problem long term, of course. You're going to want to have somebody come out who's going to say, here's what I see, here's how I can fix it. And then you make the decision to work together. And I think it's important that you understand how Home Shield Foundation Repair, they will come to you and they will assess that situation and give you the information you need to then make a decision on hiring them. Now, if you want the best when it comes to leveling out that concrete, you need to go to Home Shield Foundation Repair. You have to have them come out and then assess whether or not you want to hire them. Of course, that's up to you. But I think you're going to join the hosts of St. Louis people who have already done that. 314-227-9636. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
The president says the numbers are good. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Despite an uptick in inflation, with consumer prices rising 2.7% in June compared to a year ago, President Trump says there's very little inflation and that interest rates should be coming down.
We have a very, very successful country. We should have the lowest interest rate anywhere in the world, and we don't.
Again, criticizing the Fed chair as too late with rate cuts. President Trump also just offending Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's faced criticism, including from some Trump supporters, for not releasing more information from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Some critics suggesting a cover-up. Reporters asking the president about calls for transparency.
I would like to see that also, but I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important, and you want credible evidence for something like that. And I think the Attorney General has handled it very well.
Bondi denies that Epstein had a client list and says he did commit suicide in jail while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. The president speaking to reporters just before heading to Pennsylvania for an energy and innovation summit with business leaders focused in part on the support needed for artificial intelligence infrastructure. Former National Security Advisor Mike Waltz facing renewed questions on Capitol Hill about a reporter being mistakenly invited into a group chat about U.S. airstrikes in Yemen earlier this year.
My understanding is the Department of Defense is still conducting an investigation.
Was any disciplinary action taken?
From the White House Investigation Center?
Yes.
No, the use of signal was not only authorized, it's still authorized and highly recommended.
Waltz and Democratic Senator Chris Coons at a confirmation hearing, the former congressman now nominated to be U.S. ambassador to the UN. America is listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Partly sunny skies, very humid, 89, and there is a little uptick in scattered thunderstorms, some with heavy downpours of rain and lightning. Partly cloudy tonight, 74. Nothing but summertime Wednesday and Thursday, mainly sunny. Each day could bring a spot afternoon storm, but tough to find. It's hot and it is humid Wednesday and Thursday, each day near 95. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If you need a new air conditioner installed this summer, call a company you can trust to install your AC properly. That will get your home cool and comfortable fast. For a free estimate on a new air conditioner, visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong.
of the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is anchor man, not anchor lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Just, they're paying for everything. We're not paying anymore. We have an ocean separating us. I said, we have a problem. We make the best stuff, but we can't keep doing this. And Biden should have done this years ago. He should have done it from the beginning, but he didn't. He didn't know he was there.
So President Trump speaking earlier this week, I guess, with the director of NATO there, side by side with him in the Oval Office, and really talking about how we're going to continue to provide Ukraine with the arms that they're needed, but it's not going to really be direct anymore. NATO is stepping in and kind of giving Vladimir Putin and Russia the heads up that we're kind of sick and tired of your games. At least that's my take on it. And I don't know what I'm talking about, which is why we have Jim Carafano on the show to explain where I'm wrong and what this administration is doing. Senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, welcome back.
So we should start by talking about how really smart Annie Frey show fans are and the really smart decisions that they have made in their life, right?
Okay.
Because those who've been listening to this show for the last couple of years heard, literally Nostradamus, things that were literally true that nobody else believed, but you and I said, this is going to happen. When Joe Biden got elected, we said over 10 million illegal aliens would flood into this country. We're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
When Donald Trump got elected, we said this will end decisively, and we were absolutely right. And the other thing that we've talked about many times on the show is that when Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, he is not going to throw Ukraine under the rug, and he's not going to abandon NATO. So those are big questions that a lot of other people question, but Annie Frey nailed it. Just saying.
Because I am smart enough to have you on the show, Jim. What was your reaction to that relationship, the partnership? It seems as though President Trump is strengthening our relationship with NATO. Explain this to us on what this deal means.
Well, I mean, it really is in some ways a triple win. By the way, it's not NATO, right? It's not NATO buying the weapons. I know he says that, right? But it's actually Germany and Norway so it's NATO members. It's not NATO per se. It doesn't really matter, except it's just very Trumpian to say I'm getting NATO to do this. But it's really the Germans and Norwegians. Well, of course it is. He's making the point is that look, he's making the point that NATO had become the United States protecting everybody. NATO is a collective security alliance where members of NATO have to take responsibility, particularly things that are close to their own terrorism. When 9/11 happened, NATO declared Article 5, which was great, but 99.99% of the lift of defending America was done by Americans. We all worked together in Afghanistan because we had a joint thing. But Ukraine is not a member of NATO. It's not technically a NATO problem. It is absolutely a big issue for NATO, and it is vital for the European members of NATO. And so he's saying, look, you guys should pick up the ball here, and this is exactly what's going. So there's a couple of things here. One, of course, is Ukraine is going to get the weapons it needs to ensure that there will always be a free and independent Ukraine, regardless of what Vladimir Putin decides to do, peace, war, whatever. That's one. The second is, the U.S. taxpayer is going to get some relief here because instead of essentially giving this stuff away, people are going to pay for it, and that's going to take a burden off the U.S. taxpayer. The third thing, which nobody talks about, is we need to rebuild our industrial base. We need a lot more missiles. We need to replenish our artillery supplies and all that stuff. These purchases are going to go towards strengthening the American defense industrial base. So this is a triple win for the United States. And honestly, I don't know another president in modern history who could have pulled this off. I mean, Reagan couldn't even figure out how to get weapons to the Contras, but Donald Trump, and without breaking the law, Donald Trump has achieved something that I don't think any other modern president, really since FDR kind of engineered Lend-Lease, nobody has done what Donald Trump just did.
That's impressive to hear that explanation, and it is deeper than I think is on the surface. It does feel very much like Trump strong-armed NATO, and they were like, please, yes, we would love to do this. But in the midst of
actually, the NATO guys they're thrilled.
They seem excited.
They are. First of all, they're getting world-class weapons for the Ukrainians because just to be kind of rude about it, every Russian the Ukrainian kills is one Russian that the Europeans don't have to worry about. So they're strengthening their bond with the United States. They're helping a stronger American defense industrial base, which will be something that's going to is good for the Europeans as well. So they are the happy campers.
Yeah. Jim Carafano speaking.
Which means a lot because I've been camping and there's nothing happy about that. No. So if you have a happy camper, it's really saying something.
I'm with you. I'll take the hotel room. Thanks. One of the things I heard President Trump speaking about in the Oval Office at that meeting, but he's, of course, said it many times. We hear a lot of people who are in government speak about the superiority of our American military assets, weaponry, our technology. He said the other day that we have things that are just unbelievable, mind-blowing. You wouldn't even believe the stuff we have. What can you tell us civilians here about the capacity of America, our defense system, compared to the rest of the world? We just got to see what they were able to do against the nuclear strikes in Iran. Are we as superior as we boast?
Well, there are some areas where clearly the United States is not only the world leader, but you literally can't compete. And as much compromising as we have done, to be fair, under presidents, both Democratic and Republican, since the end of the Cold War, pretending that history was over, we need militaries anymore. The one thing we've never really compromised is on the systems that are unique to the United States, because we are a global power with global interests and global responsibilities, and we have to get everywhere in the world. And so there are some things that we do that literally nobody is in the ballpark, and submarines is one of them. Our nuclear-powered submarines and the both conventional and nuclear weapons that they hold are something to behold. I mean, literally, you can launch hundreds of Tomahawk missiles from a submarine that nobody knows where it is, and you do not even know those missiles have been launched until they're banging on your door. So that's one. Of course, we're the only people with a strategic bomber fleet that is both literally invulnerable, pretty robust. We have a fair amount of these things if you count everything from B-52s up, and just count an amazing amount of firepower, both conventional and nuclear. So that's another one. And of course, when it comes to strategic missile defenses, the ability to shoot a bullet out of the sky with another bullet, we are the world leaders in that. So okay, we have great tanks. Lots of people have great tanks. We still have really the untouchable aircraft carriers. I mean, the Chinese are building aircraft carriers. Nobody knows if they can fight. Ours can really fight. And when you look at things like, in the stealth aircraft range, ability to evade radar and stuff, nobody can touch what we have, and not even the Chinese with basically F-35 that they copied from us. So we're not across the board everywhere where the United States is untouchable. Drones, for example, everybody has drones. Nobody has anything like the Patriot missile system. And the interesting thing about the Patriot missile system, which is what makes that system so scary good, is it can learn. And so the more things attack you, whether they're missiles or cruise missiles or hypersonic missiles or drones or stuff, the more the system, which is both a radar and a shooter, so it's a sensor and a shooter, the more they understand about those things and the more they can figure out how to engage with them. So actually, one of the things that's happened in this war with Ukraine is we've figured out how to make our systems go after a lot more of the things that the Russians are throwing at the Ukrainians. So not only is the Patriot missile kind of the world-class air and missile defense system, but it is actually getting better every day. So it's not across the board. It's not everything. It's not everywhere. We're not 50 feet tall, We're not, invulnerable like the Greek gods. But some of these things are literally nobody can really touch what we do. That's fair.
And is that universally understood? Does Vladimir Putin, when he sees that President Trump, who says at least publicly, been willing to talk to Putin and Russia and have a conversation to achieve peace, when it's not working out and Trump seems to go a little bit heavier into the support for Ukraine, does all that factor into how Vladimir Putin makes his next move?
Well, I think they just say, well, he won't use these things. I mean, the Americans have these things, but they won't use them. And the one thing that has made Donald Trump really on par with Ronald Reagan as kind of the great post-war presidents is that they have both built militaries not to conquer the world, not to start needless wars, but to tell enemies, back off, Jack. And they've used those militaries just enough in a way that's not risky, but in a way that demonstrates that this is not a nation that you want to fool with. I'll give you a good example, right? One of the huge mistakes we made is when George Bush did the second invasion of Iraq, literally the entire world was in shock, including the Iranians, who were completely cowed. Then we made this stupid decision that we said, okay, well, we're not going to bother Iran at all. And then that was the Iranians' excuse to just IEDs and everything else and stuff. And so peace through strength is developing the capacity, but having a demonstrable, willingness to use it and not be reckless about it. And I think that what distinguishes a Trump from a George Bush on one end, who was maybe a bit reckless in some of these things, and an Obama or Jimmy Carter or a Biden who are just afraid to do anything.
Well, we appreciate. I love that, knowing the strength, the flex that our American military is, and room for improvement. And it seems as though we have a president who's willing to invest in that continued improvement. It makes me feel safer.
I think so.
All right. Well,
we are gonna be the masters of using artificial intelligence on the battlefield. I believe that, and that is going to take us another generation ahead of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sometimes and this is just I'm not trying to say that we got everything figured out and we're perfect and we don't have any vulnerabilities and there aren't areas where we're weak. I'm not saying that, but I'm only talking about the stuff that you and I know about.
Right. Yeah.
I remember the day that in the Panama War when I was F-117 or whatever, the first stealth fighter flew its first combat mission. I'd never even heard of that thing. Like all of a sudden this thing shows up and where did that come from? And this happens, right? I mean, sometimes we advertise these things, but sometimes we don't talk about it. I remember a guy who was with the cyber guy said, he goes, Jim, he says, we have some things that nobody else in the world even knows about. That was the good news. The bad news is we can't defend ourselves against some of these things. So, but I'm saying investing. This is a mistake that we've always made as a country. We kind of get on this thing where we spend a lot of defense, and then we don't spend anything on defense, and we wax, we wane. The smart, invest in defense over time. It winds up being cheaper in the end, and it creates a sustained capability to make the world more peaceful. Because there's an indisputable reality in modern human history. When the United States is actually strong in defending its own interest, and it is both feared and respected in the world, the reality is that the world as a whole is more peaceful. Now, I'm not saying there's no problems, no wars anywhere, and nothing ever bad ever happens. I'm just saying that historically, when America is strong and looks after its own interest, the world is more peaceful, not less. I'm not saying the world's trying to be the world policeman. I'm not trying to solve everybody's problems. I'm not saying take over the world, put the American flag up over Greenland. I'm just saying that when you actually just look after your own backyard, it actually ripples across the planet and makes bad guys say, I'm just going to go on vacation this year.
Yeah. Ugh. So much, like you said, the wax and the wane, so much that gets wrapped up in the political sphere. Right. At least we have a stark comparison. It can hopefully draw from that.
Somewhere in the bowels of Beijing, there is a little altar where some tiny little Beijing guy is on his knees praying for the election of Gavin Newsom. I'm just telling you.
Somewhere. Let's leave him there. Jim Carafano, we appreciate you. Thank you for being with us today.
All right, buddy.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Good talking to you.
You as well. Bye-bye. Gosh, I love that. I could sit and listen to that type of stuff. Don't we all want to know that there are things that are so BA that we don't know about them, and God willing, we never know about them because that means we don't have to use them. Maybe find out about them in an air show 10, 15, 20 years after they've been in practice. I don't know. That warms my heart. That's for sure. Great to have Jim Carafano on with us again. In about 15 minutes from now, we're going to speak with Gregg Jarrett, maybe 10. So keep it here. We're going to get to the bottom of the Supreme Court ruling yesterday regarding the permission. The ruling was essentially that the Trump administration can go on with the elimination of those jobs at the Department of Education. What does that mean? What was the challenge? All the legal expertise from Gregg Jarrett, the Fox News legal analyst that we love to have on the show at 1:30. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You belong with me, my sweetheart. I belong with you. You belong with me, my sweetheart.
Infinite-Vitality.com. I want to speak to the gentleman out there listening right now. I think that once you hit that, eventually you're going to say, oh, I guess this is what it feels like to be old. It's like the first time in your 30s when you did something like you had to stretch before a game for the first time, like you had to, because you knew you were going to pull a hammy or something and have to do the old man shuffle off the softball field. And shame. Well, that's your 30s. You do it once, you learn. But then you get into your 40s and 50s and 60s. You ever gotten out of bed and been like, I think I pulled something standing up out of bed or whatever. You've been trying to keep in shape. You've been trying to put the work in. You're trying to eat healthy, and everything just seems to be slowing down. Everything is more difficult than it needs to be. Infinite Vitality will help you restore your vitality, and all you got to do is give them a call to schedule an appointment. 618-486-1888. 618-486-1888. If you're having difficulty losing weight, your weight loss resistance, you are feeling, little bouts of depression, loss of strength, muscle mass, the brain fog is set in, you're just always fatigued, get rid of all of that and get your vitality back. 618-486-1888, infinite-vitality.com.
It's hot. So is it better to set my thermostat at 70, 65, 75, 80? Here's my advice to you. Set the thermostat exactly where you're more comfortable. The difference I would spend from 75 to 80, are you ready for your savings? Now remember, this is for 3 months. In my opinion, you could save $10 to $15 a month. Or I can say, I'm still uncomfortable, so lower it, 70 degrees. So now you're spending $10 to $20 more a month for 3 months. So let's just say to 20. Let's just get crazy and think that it's going to cost you $20 more a month for your comfort. That's $60 in 3 months. Do you have an extra $60? With that being said, if your system is not cooling, then call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. God bless.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Frey, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired? Do you have your personalized income plan in place? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market? And how in 39 years we have never lost a penny of our clients' money?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton, Tuesday, August 5th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Live, local, and conservative. It's the Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk.
It's been a while since I could.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show, the YouTube live chat poll. Can blue states be saved? Yes, no, or keep them blue? Folks, this is another close one in the poll. So please go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote right there in the live broadcast, in the chat that's associated with it. That's why we call it the live chat poll. Have you guys seen J.D. Vance at Disneyland? Did you see the story?
Yes.
What was the story specifically?
Just the fact that he was
Oh,
there.
he was there?
Like,
Oh,
how
yeah, I did
dare
see that.
he? We're streaming the video right now of the J.D. Vance run, and he's getting roasted.
Get those knees up there, big fella.
Yeah, what is it? What do people want him to do?
High knees.
How would you explain, Ethan, J.D. Vance? There's a video of him. I don't know Disneyland at all. I've never been. I don't know where he's at in the park. But he's on his phone. He's standing next to his wife. Of course, there's Secret Service everywhere. He's got VIP tour guides that normally, if you go to Disney World or Disneyland, they wear plaid, but his VIP folks were in plain clothes. So he's surrounded by all these people. And all of a sudden, he looks over to the side and he starts to shuffle and he runs away and people are roasting him over his run. How would you describe his run?
The run. You know the way that Joe Biden used to like very carefully walk without moving his arm as much.
Kind of had him out to the side.
This is like the running version of that, where he's not really moving his arms much, and then he gets up these stairs, and all of a sudden he's pumping his knees.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I think there's only two things that could have made him start running at Disneyland. One, he saw a kid that was about to jump into an enclosure or jump into some sort of I don't know, area that he's probably not supposed to be.
A kid in danger.
Or he saw the Lightning McQueen area, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's
That's
Lightning
my
McQueen!
favorite
Gotta
movie."
go!" It does
Hurry up! Get to the front of the line.
Only two options that make sense to see our vice president go.
Maybe he wanted a
frolicking
Dole
off
Whip
like that.
Do they have Dole Whip at Disneyland?
What is Dole Whip?
Oh God, get out of here! Don't worry about it.
For real? Like the whipped cream stuff?
No.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I got nothing.
We'll introduce you to Dole Whip. So this is Brad. Anything to say about the infamous JD Disneyland run?
I'm looking at that.
It is really goofy looking.
Yeah, I'm looking at that, and the only thing, the benefit of the doubt that I'm going to give him is based on the terrain around him. You can't see his feet, but it looks like he's kind of running up the hill on some sort of steps that aren't even.
Why is he not moving his arms?
Because he's keeping his balance down with them down low.
No, guys, this is what's happening. He, as you said, Ethan, I'm scrolling through his Twitter profile right now, his X profile now, to see if he made a comment on this, because it would be very much like J.D. Vance to be like, listen, guys, here's what went down, and just explain himself. I don't see that yet, but if anybody has seen him say anything about this, please send it to me at Annie Frey Show. There is something you do as a parent when your kid is about to do something probably super stupid.
He's watching. He's like,
you could see
he dang it, he's doing it.
Perks up and he's looking over to the side. His run, he's trying to approach the situation, which I don't honestly know what it is. I'm just inferring. With an if you haul out Tom Cruise sprint to location, panic. Not to mention the fact, if you're the vice president and you start going, if you start going into a full-on run, this guy, he's a Marine, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah,
Is he a Marine? He's a Marine. This dude knows how to run. We do not have to qualify J.D. Vance's athleticism or physical fitness in the fact that he was a qualified Marine, and I think that was before they lowered the standards. So
This run screams composure. Like you said, if he's sprinting off, the American people are frantic.
yes, and I think it screams. I think it just oozes of dad. Like, I'm gonna creep up on this situation that's unfolding before it falls apart, and I'm like, this to me looks like. I think at the end you can see him kind of run around a corner. I think it looks like a kid was there, and then you, as a parent, you quickly scan everywhere because you're like, red shirt, blue shorts, red shirt, blue shorts, red shirt, blue shorts. Don't see him. Then you start to move in that place towards where the child was, thinking, okay, obviously the kid's going to appear, and then they're not there. And with every step you take as a parent, when you can't see your child in a situation like that, you go faster. It's happening in real time. That's what I think. This is not, J.D. Vance does not need Annie Frey in St. Louis being like, he's a really good runner. Like, that's not what this is. I think Harry, is it Sisson? How do you say his last name?
That sounds right.
Sisson.
Whatever.
Harry Sissy, I think is what it is, actually.
Man, I was going to say it, and then I didn't.
I did.
High five. He retweets this and, like, tries to criticize Jade, and I'm like, dude, you are not the one. You are not the guy to point at the vice president of the United States who trounced Tim Walz. Like, what even is that? Tim Walz, Mr. Like, here, I'm going to hold this gun. How do I hold this gun? Mr. Midwestern, I drink beer when I'm fixing my car. Like, everything that the Democrat Party tried to do to emulate masculinism or, like, every guy, every dude, there has never been a more normal dude
Than Tim Walz.
Shame on you. There has never been a more normal dude in the White House than J.D. Vance.
Oh.
And I will make it, I'll take it even one further. Everything that was forced down our throats over the course of decades of Joe Biden being a politician, everything we were told about Joe Biden was, oh, he's a family guy. He's Scranton Joe. He rides the train to and from D.C. He commutes to work. Like that's some sort of, like the little people who actually have to drive, who have to go to work. But we just heard Chuck Todd and Jake Tapper in the last, I think, month say, Joe Biden was always posed to us like he was one of us, like he was a super accessible person. He commuted to work. And they said that story could have easily been positioned to the American people in a way that said, actually, Joe Biden goes to work and commutes home to visit home.
Yeah, it had to be it was done that way, right? As almost a forcing of, this is how it had to be to show you, oh, but he is normal. No one does that with J.D. Vance because he truly is just a normal person.
He's probably a little too normal.
It's like, ew, get out of the corn dogs.
Yes, exactly. I don't think that when J.D. Vance saw this video, he's like, oh, yeah, that's totally normal. I think he got caught being a dad, and I love it. And no, it's not like the best, point perfect sprint that you've ever seen, but that's not his concern. His concern's his kid. That's
Vivek,
my
that's
assumption.
not the fast pass line.
Let's take a quick break. Gregg Jarrett on the Annie Frey Show next. RulerFoods.com. If you haven't found your Ruler Foods yet, here's my personal invitation to you to make that happen. Ruler Foods understands savings. They understand giving you the easy way to go shop, to fill your cart, and at the end go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that cost that. Usually it's, that much more. Ruler Foods has great savings right now on produce. You can save on blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries, the very best. Just 2 for $5. Take those berries, throw some bananas in it. Great summer fruit salad. Crisp red or white seedless grapes, just $1.88 a pound. You can save on Kroger 80% lean ground beef, $4.49 a pound in a 3-pound roll. And fill that pantry with Kroger snack medleys or pudding snacks, just $1 each. You can have these savings delivered directly to your door, and you can also find them online. Set the whole thing up at rulerfoods.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to support the first ever Brendan Donovan charity clay shoot happening Thursday, August 7th at Strathelbin Farms Club in Weldon Spring. Join Cardinals standout Brendan Donovan, teammates, and local celebs for a day of clay shooting and community, all to benefit Team Red, White, and Blue and their mission to support veterans' health and wellness. Don't wait. Sponsorships and shooter sponsor going fast. Visit teamrwb.org/Donovan now to sign up. Show your support and make a difference for those who've served. 97.1 FM Talk, backing our veterans every step of the way.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: can blue states be saved? Yes, no, or keep them blue? We'll be reviewing the results to the live chat poll here in just a little over an hour. The time is 1:35. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Real talk, today's issues. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. The YouTube live chat poll: can blue states be saved? Yes or no, or keep them blue? You might think that you like them the way they are. Got a little something there for everybody. We are, looking at a lot of what this administration has transitioned to. After the big, beautiful bill was signed, there were a lot of investigations that were announced, and one of them was into Comey and Brennan.
President Trump, James Comey and John Brennan, now under criminal investigation related to the Trump-Russia probe. Do you want to see these two guys behind bars?
Well, I know nothing about it other than what I read today, but I will tell you, I think they're very dishonest people. I think they're crooked as hell, and maybe they have to pay a price for that. I believe they are truly bad people and dishonest people. So whatever happens, happens.
So that was the president's reaction there to Peter Ducey's question. Let's get to the bottom of what this investigation might actually mean. We welcome back to the show Gregg Jarrett, the Fox News legal analyst, former defense attorney and law professor, and author of The Trial of the Century and the Constitution and Other Patriotic Documents. Gregg Jarrett, welcome back. It's good to have you here.
Oh, good to be with you, Annie.
This investigation is launched. Of course, you know how the president feels about these individuals. I don't really blame him. What does an investigation mean at this point in time?
I think it's inevitable and absolutely merited that a special counsel be appointed. You don't want the Trump administration, the DOJ, to be themselves bringing the case against, Democrats and political opponents. So I think a special counsel is appropriate. But look, for almost a decade, Trump suffered an onslaught of lies and smears and fraud, deceit, even forgery. Nearly all of it was done by unscrupulous government actors who hated him personally, loathed his policies, and they abused their power and weaponized the law by manufacturing phony documents, crooked investigations, cooked up criminal charges, and they acted in concert with a common goal to sabotage Trump's electoral chances. And, under the law, that would constitute a criminal conspiracy, an agreement to commit illegal acts. And it seems as though, the evidence is plain that they planned it, they acted together, they schemed, they connived. So I think if appointed as special counsel would look not just at things like false statements by Comey and Brennan, but a larger overarching conspiracy to defraud the government and deprivation of rights under color of law. Those are both crimes. And in other words, using knowingly false or fabricated evidence to support cases against Trump for political reasons. And, the most obvious was how Comey and Brennan exploited the bogus dossier as this basis to launch the FBI investigation of Trump, to obtain spy warrants, even though they knew that this Hillary-funded document, the dossier, was total garbage. Nearly at the outset of the investigation, they debunked it. They actually fired Christopher Steele for lying. But, they told none of that to the public. They didn't tell it to Congress. They certainly didn't tell it to the FISA judges when they obtained the spy warrants. And then they used what they knew was a junk document to try to entrap Trump at the infamous Trump Tower meeting days before his inauguration. So I think you put all of that together and you see this illicit scheme to smear and frame Trump.
Yes, certainly. And we've been hearing about it now for 10 years, about President Trump's, then candidate Trump's relationship with Russia, among some incredibly ridiculous claims that did stem out of that dossier. People still cite those claims today. They still kind of treat that as gospel, even if it's just willfully so. What kind of consequence comes along with, should these allegations that you're saying right here, should they be charged and found guilty? A lot of people who have supported Trump this long want to see the perp walk. They want to see the handcuffs. They want people in jail. Is that likely?
Well, it's too early to be able to say. There are a couple of obstacles. First of all is statute of limitations, because you're talking about crimes that are well past the standard 5-year statute of limitations. But there are a couple of ways around that. First of all, there's the fraud concealment exception. If documents are deliberately concealed and fraudulently withheld, that tolls or suspends the statute of limitations so that it only begins ticking the moment you discover those concealed documents. Another way around it is to allege, this overarching, ongoing conspiracy where the statute of limitations starts ticking based on the last act in the conspiracy. So, for example, if you count the Mar-a-Lago raid as part of the ongoing conspiracy, then, you not only beat the statute of limitations, but that allows you to avoid bringing a case in Washington, D.C., where you can never get a conviction against Democrats there. I mean, Trump got 6% of the vote last November. So you could bring the case in a conspiracy charge in Florida, where, obviously it would be a lot more of a neutral venue than the nation's capital.
Well, it will certainly be something that I know that our listeners will be paying attention to, and I'll direct them to your opinion piece on FoxNews.com, where you talk about how the CIA report makes it clear Trump was framed. And people can read that in detail. It's a great piece, and I recommend it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I wanted to ask you about the Supreme Court ruling yesterday regarding the Department of Education and the Trump's intentions there. What did we learn from that ruling on how the Trump administration can proceed?
Well, it was one of the easier decisions to make. The president has executive authority under Article 2 to hire and fire. The only question was, can he fire everybody in the Department of Education? And as the Supreme Court pointed out, that's not what he did. he cut, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, about 1,500 jobs, or at least 1,500 jobs are slated to be cut. But that still leaves employees at the Department of Education. And as the Secretary of Education pointed out, we will still, with the remaining employees, abide by our legal obligations pursuant to the statute that created the Department of Education decades ago. And the Supreme Court pointed to that and said, as for all the other employees, they can be fired by the President of the United States.
Well, we'll continue to watch the developments there as the administration moves forward in reforming, if not eliminating, the Department of Education. One other question on a separate issue, since I have you, we're speaking with Gregg Jarrett. It's an honor to have you here, and I want to pick your brain a little bit here on the continued developments that come out of the AutoPen story. Some are calling it a scandal. I'm wondering if scandal is as bad as you anticipate this story developing, or if there is any part of the Biden presidency, should they be able to prove that he was unaware of anything the AutoPen signed, is any of that undoable?
Yes. If he did not consent or have knowledge, then any document that bears his signature is fraudulent and a forgery under law, which, by the way, are crimes. Look, the use of an AutoPen is not by itself against the law, as long as I say, there's consent and knowledge. But here, we're getting evidence, including, from Biden himself in, his interview with the New York Times, that, some people seem to have been receiving directions from him that he was authorizing them to make decisions on when to use the AutoPen. The president cannot delegate authorization. He can only direct it. And so, for example, Neera Tanden, among the first people to be interviewed in the Oversight Committee investigation in the House, said, I was in charge of the AutoPen, and I would send requests to the inner circle, and I never knew who approved it. Now that is troubling, because if it wasn't Biden who directly and specifically approved specific documents, then, arguably those documents are null and void.
So is the burden of proof on knowledge or, authorization by President Joe Biden, is that burden of proof pretty steep, hard to do?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think I'll give you an example of what could prove to be a test case. So Senator Rand Paul has made a criminal referral against Anthony Fauci to the Department of Justice for lying to Congress. And in my opinion, Fauci did lie, about funding dangerous gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab, which I suspect is where the virus emerged. So he arguably had a direct hand in creating a pandemic that killed, millions of people. So, and he didn't, I've watched his testimony. He didn't seem to be telling the truth. He was denying it, and yet documents belie that. So if the DOJ were to charge Fauci, he would assert an affirmative defense, which is, I have a pardon. That shifts the burden then to the government to prove that the pardon is null and void because it wasn't directly signed by Joe Biden. The question becomes, did he direct it, or did other people make the decision to issue the preemptive pardon?
Well, all of these stories up in the air and progressing, and your legal expertise is always very much so valued here on our show. Gregg Jarrett, thank you for the time today. We're glad you're here.
My pleasure, Annie. Take care.
You as well. Bye-bye. Gregg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst, former defense attorney and law professor. Great book, The Constitution and Other Patriotic Documents. A good one to have in the home and on the shelf, just for reference points. All right, let's take a quick break. Ethan's going to come back in here. Ryan's out for a few days, and Ethan is playing Ryan. And we always have these off-air conversations like, how does one actually do that? How do you emulate Ryan. And I'm like, don't try. Just be yourself. Glad to have Ethan in here. Glad that Ryan's getting a few days off with his family. When we come back, we're going to pick up on some of the Wiggins America points that we didn't get to. And we're also going to ask you for our 2:30 segment. Trisha's going to join us. X's and Y's. What are some questions you have about the opposite sex? Why do you go to the bathroom in pairs or groups? Those types of things. Hit us up on the Annie Frey YouTube channel and leave your questions there. Quick Rick just left one for us that I set aside for that segment. Maybe we'll get yours in as well. We'll be right back.
Yeah, are you with us so far?
Point Pest Control. It's Point with an E. PointPestControl.com. You can call them directly and mention my name when you do to save an extra 10%. Whatever type of discounts or sales they have going right now, if you throw my name out there, they're going to throw an additional 10% on the top of that. So just tell me Annie sent you. I want to encourage you to consider their Premier Service Plan. If you have spiders, crickets, mice in your house, critters, ants, whatever they might be, you can eliminate those problems when you have Point Pest Control come out and be a member of their Premier Service Plan. I'm a happy paying subscriber to this quarterly service, and we do not have bugs in our house. We just had them out last week, I think, for the summer treatment of our home, and sometimes they just do the outside. If I feel like there's some evidence of some bugs or something, I might have them come do the inside. I think I've only had to do that once because the initial treatment on the inside of the home did such a great job. Reach out to Point Pest Control. Tell them what concern you have, and they will tell you exactly how they can treat it. Even mosquitoes outside, they can help you with that as well. 636-798-0023. 636-798-0023. It's Point with an E. PointPestControl.com.
This summer, while you stay cool, our first responders stay on the front lines. The St. Louis First Responder Canteen is there to keep them hydrated and supported. Find out how you can help by visiting 971talk.com/talkinaction.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. And you know, your home is your sanctuary. You need to take the first step to peace of mind with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac generator dealer in the country, Generator Supercenter. We learned the hard way here in St. Louis during the tornado recently that power can be knocked out. But even outside of that, what if the power grid fails and it's 100 degrees here in St. Louis? You don't want to be that person. Get with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis today. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Tell them that we sent you along.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
Now, back to the Annie Frey Show. Real talk for real people. 97.1 FM Talk.
All right. Yeah.
So we were talking in Wiggins America just an hour ago about signs your coworkers don't like you.
Yeah, so if you missed the beginning of that or of these points, the reason that this was the Wiggins America topic, and obviously Ryan's not here, you hear a nice, more refreshing,
Yeah, you might think
better
that
sounding voice. That
this-
would be because I am Ethan.
That would maybe think that you were doing this just because you were trying to pick on Ryan.
Well,
but
I asked Ryan, I was like, hey, any good thoughts as to what the Wiggins America topic should be, any of them when you're gone? And it was really weird. It was like he almost had this ready. Like as soon as I finished asking the question, he's like, here.
He's been carrying it for 2 weeks waiting for you to ask that question.
And the title of this article was 6 Signs That Your Coworkers Don't Like You. It's like he knew I was going to ask.
Real quick, we don't need to discuss them, but just list the ones we've already said.
The ones we have listed so far are they rarely include you in group discussions. They show negative body language when talking to you. They never celebrate your successes, and they avoid working with you. So
These are subtle signs.
Just
all right,
subtle.
2 more. Let's get to wrap that up.
The last 2, the first one, they give you short and curt replies. When you ask your colleagues more in-depth or open-ended questions, and they only give you short yes and no replies, you may start wondering why this happens. So let me ask, does this happen to you guys ever?
No.
At work? No.
Yeah. Thank you for the short and curt
Dang
replies.
it. Yeah, I was
You
trying
like
to
that?
do a thing.
Ryan totally would have made that a longer, drawn-out question, and he would have just filled it with random words, and it would have been way better, but, it's okay.
It's. I think our environment is a more difficult environment to measure brevity and directness.
Because there's only so much time.
Literally, we count our day in seconds. And you may or may not have even noticed, but our clocks are a little bit different now. And so shorter commercial breaks, we're trying to be quicker and to the point. So there's no time to be like, hey, buddy.
Or to even say, like, I have to go pee.
Yeah. It's run out the room and go, gotta pee.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like, you can't even say, I have to go pee. That takes up too much time.
Yeah.
You take away from time, you could be peeing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, it says to handle the issue, consider explaining to them that when they help you, you can complete your tasks in less time, which helps the entire team improve its performance.
You can be direct and not a jerk, though.
For sure. There's a difference.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes maybe that's where the emotion comes in too, right? It's like, well, you're being mean to me. It's no, I'm being direct. I'm saving time. You softy. Okay, that's a little mean. That part's a little mean. All right, the last one, they undermine you. For example, they may do this by publicly discussing mistakes you've made. That's brutal. And when
We do that on the show a lot.
When
Yeah.
still learning about new process or interrupting when you're speaking during meetings. There are obvious ways in which you can handle this. You may start by ignoring their behavior and hoping they stop. If this doesn't help, consider addressing the issue directly. I love that that's it. Just ignore them first.
No.
If that doesn't work, then point it out to them.
I think if we're talking about coworkers here, the ultimate question has to be, is the job getting done? Whatever widgets you do or whatever service you provide, are things going swimmingly? Is the job getting done very well? And if it is, and you're experiencing these things, that is a personal relationship situation. If stuff isn't getting done and things are going this way, then we're going to have to reflect on how all the parts can work better to get a more successful product.
The honorable mentions, you're the newest team member, they've heard you gossip, or you've taken days off. Too many days off.
Ryan!
Coincidence?
Yeah. This is really about Wiggins. He'll be gone for another 2 days. Let's have some more fun. X's and Y's in the next hour. Don't go away.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
CiviaLaw.com. Todd Civia will help you move through transitional periods in your life and get you prepared for them before they even arrive. That's where the magic happens. Being able to have these conversations about wills, powers of attorney, that whole, like, what do you do when they're in the hospital and you got to make a decision? Those are better conversations to have when you're not immediately faced with the imminent action having to take place, right? So when you call Todd Civia at 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, Missouri and Illinois alike, I want you to know that you're going to be put in a position where those conversations are comfortable to have. You feel like it's thorough. You know you've answered them. Then when you walk out the door, you know, hey, this has been taken care of by the very best with Todd Civia and Civia Law. The first 10 callers right now get your strategy session free. So hurry up, get on the line, 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, CiviaLaw.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
They don't know what hit them. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The head of NATO with that take on Russia and its trading partners. A day after President Trump's new partnership with NATO and tariff threats, all to help Ukraine. But President Trump telling reporters today he's not taking sides.
President Trump is boosting military purchases for Ukraine and giving Russia 50 days to agree to a ceasefire. But asked if the announcement means he's on the side of Ukraine, the president answered,
You know what the side I'm on? Humanity's side. I want to stop the killing of thousands of people a week. I want to stop the killing.
President Trump said Ukraine should not target sites in Moscow. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt pushed back on reporting in the Financial Times that says President Trump asked Ukraine's president during a recent phone call if Ukraine could hit military targets deep inside Russia.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The president is set to speak at an energy summit in Pennsylvania with a focus on AI investments. He also keeps getting questions about the Democratic nominee for New York City Mayor, Zohran Mamdani, again calling him a communist.
I don't think our country is ready for a communist, but we're going to see. And I don't think that race is over yet either.
This after former Governor Andrew Cuomo decided to stay in the race. He and current Mayor Eric Adams, both Democrats running as independents now, also facing Republican Curtis Sliwa in November. Mamdani, meantime, meeting with business leaders.
Mamdani says he wants to raise taxes on corporations and millionaires to pay for free universal child care, free bus transit, rent freezes, and government-run grocery stores. Today's closed-door meeting with CEOs and billionaires comes a day after Mamdani criticized his rivals for, quote, tripping over each other to win the approval of billionaires in back rooms.
Fox's Brian Yennis. America is listening to Fox News.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
No one wants to leave behind stress for their family. That's why a trust or a will is so important. Without one, your assets might go to the wrong people or leave out loved ones. Also, probate is long, expensive, and often avoidable with a revocable trust. Trustandwill.com makes it simple to create a personalized estate plan. A trust or will provides clarity and peace of mind. Get 20% off on your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/radio.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Partly sunny skies, very humid, 89, and there is a little uptick in scattered thunderstorms, some with heavy downpours of rain and lightning. Partly cloudy tonight, 74. Nothing but summertime Wednesday and Thursday, mainly sunny. Each day could bring a spotted afternoon storm, but tough to find. It's hot and it is humid Wednesday and Thursday, each day near 95. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show Live, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. It is Tuesday, and I still have to look at my paper to figure out what day it is. Do you know the days in the summer versus? Does it change your life at all, Ethan? Summer versus.
No, I don't have issues with that. When I have issues is on vacation. When I am
that means
somewhere
it's a
else.
good vacation, right?
I think so. Yeah, but like that's when I'm like everything runs together. Everything feels the same.
Yeah.
So
Brad and Ryan and I, all being married to teachers, have a natural flow to our lives while the teachers are in school, and then when they're not, it's just basically there's church on Sunday and I'm off on Saturday, and then everything else is. Are we at the I'm off today day yet? That's kind of the way I feel about it. The YouTube live chat poll for today is: can blue states be saved? Yes or no? Or keep them blue? Some of the comments that we have coming in here right now. Ron says, miracles can happen, not likely, but mathematically possible. Joe said yes, but then where would we keep the dumb people?
Jeez.
Dang, Joe.
Hey-o.
Jackie said yes, with the right leadership and the active voter base, anything is possible. Ender said, I had to go with no. Safe from what? From what we think is bad? The thing is, they don't think they're doing anything bad or wrong. In fact, they're quite sure what they're doing is right. That's an interesting perspective on it, that those blue states like the state of Illinois, that the people feel like, no, this is exactly what I voted for.
Do you think that, I know sometimes there's poll questions and the connotation around the question can kind of be how people perceive it. How would you define saved in this situation, Annie? Fiscally saved. Culturally, probably politically downstream. The culture is not going to change because we elect the right politician. My opinion in the state of Illinois is that, yes, I'm as pro-life as it gets. I believe life begins at conception. You have your DNA, your own unique DNA, your own entity. You are your own person at the point of conception. But that's not going to win an election in the state of Illinois. And the truth of the matter is more babies' lives will be protected with a Republican governor than they will with a Democrat governor. J.B. Pritzker wants to be a destination for people to feel safe if they're here illegally, for people to feel safe if they want to end the life of their unborn child, people to feel safe if they want to live life out accordingly as a minor who wants to consult people outside of their parents, outside of their legal guardians. It's a really upside down way to live life. And I think that the despair that economic irresponsibility has left states like the state of Illinois, California as well, why so many people are fleeing. I think prosperity is a way that a lot of people begin to feel more comfortable and confident making what I would consider personally, subjectively, of course, better decisions with their life. They start thinking more about their future. Think about all of those things that I'm talking about that get prioritized in the state of Illinois. And none of that is about, nobody thinks about, I'd really like to move to Illinois and put down some roots and start a family and a career. No. The people who are staying in Illinois are the ones who feel like the roots have already been set too deep, and they
portable. And that's a very sad reality for a lot of people to come to grips with. And for those who can't come to grips with it, and aren't willing to say, like, this is something I want to fight for, they leave. And some of those people do leave behind heritage businesses, farms, like your family. They leave those people behind. I'm not there yet. And I think a lot of people listen to that and go, yeah, I'm not there yet either. Mary Miller said on our show last Friday, I believe it was, that she said, I just want to tell everybody that we have the numbers in Illinois to turn Illinois red. That is a true statement. Mm-hmm. I want you to understand right now, if you're listening in the state of Illinois or around the state of Illinois, that Illinois absolutely has what it takes to elect a red statewide candidate. It has to be the right candidate, and they have to stay laser focused. And the biggest part here is the Illinois GOP has to not predestine the candidate for the people of Illinois. They have to. The people of Illinois have to feel like they're choosing the candidate that best represents them. And now, to the people of Illinois, you have to understand that we have to limit our priorities right now because it's such a mess. The state of Illinois is in such disarray. Culturally, yes, decay. You might use that word. But financially, fiscally, so incredibly irresponsible. The money that they take in, they've never taken in more tax revenue than they are right now. The money that they take in and where they choose to send the money out is so upside down and backwards because we don't have the money that we're sending out. It's not there. Everything has to be tightened. Every notch on that belt buckle that you can tighten, you have to do that. And we have to elect somebody who has the common sense to lead on the issues that can be effective. I had somebody comment on the Mary Miller video that we put out and got a lot of traction. Yeah, it's got 1,000 retweets. It's got almost 6,000 likes right now, and people who are excited to hear that Illinois has the votes to turn it red. The people exist. The votes exist. We have to get them to the polls. We cannot have a civil war within the Republican Party that devours one another. And we also can't have one arm of the Republican Party that smacks the other side and tells them to sit down and shut up, because that results in people not going to the polls. There has to be an understanding. There has to be something that common sense people in the state of Illinois, and of course, Jersey, we hear, New Jersey is going to have an election here this November. We will have our statewide in Illinois in November of 2026. But New Jersey, I don't care what you think about Chris Christie as like a presidential candidate. If you live in the state of Illinois, you would run through a brick wall to have Chris Christie be your governor. That's the type of governor that we're probably looking at having to elect. Somebody who has the ability to work with a complicated purple state. You've got Cook County, which is very, very blue. You've got the rest of the state, which honestly is very, very red. Cook County has 66% of the Illinois population. Therefore, it really matters. If you get just a little over 20%, 80% of Cook County can still say, no, this is great. What are you talking about? I'm living the dream in the state of Illinois. I'm sitting here thinking everything that we're doing is absolutely fantastically great. 80% of the people in Cook County can think that. Just a little under 80% of those folks can continue to vote for what we got. The rest of the state shows up. We can change the state. We can do that. The question today, can blue states be saved? I'll speak on behalf of Illinois and tell you unequivocally, with absolute certainty, yes, Illinois can be saved. But you're sitting here right now going, Annie, how do we beat the cheat? How do we overcome what Cook County is going to do, what Chicago is going to do? They invented it. It's been replicated, but probably hardly ever fully duplicated. I don't have the answer for that other than we need to beat the cheat. That's what Donald Trump, too big to rig, right? Isn't that what the entire 2024 presidential candidate campaign was about from President Trump? If you think that the reason why red candidates can't win in the state of Illinois is because they rig it every time, it has to be too big to rig. We have to get to the bottom of massive voter turnout, not easy to do, but it really does start with you. That's the thing about this. Voter turnout, spreading the word on a basic, concise message about fiscal responsibility, bringing everything down to brass tacks, and getting us back to the place where we know that the direction we're headed on is a more fiscally responsible one. That's where we are on this timeline right now. We have been sprinting to the far left, aggressive, progressive side of the Democrat Party in the state of Illinois. And I don't think the Democrats want that. On the whole, people who are union, blue-collar Democrat voters have already pulled away from that. They're not diving headfirst into the red side of the pond, but they are not wanting to go the direction that this state has been going and that the Democrat Party has been going. We have to give them an alternative. And it can't be a shame on you, club you over the head with our culture wars and social values to where that's prioritized because you won't win the votes that you need to win in order to win the statewide election. That doesn't mean at all that you have to set aside your principles. That doesn't mean at all that you have to lie or that you have to compromise. It just means we have to prioritize and we have to communicate with our candidates who are running in these statewide elections that we have some simple priorities. Now, in the state of Illinois, we don't have term limits. Governor Pritzker, King Pritzker, is going to run for his third term. I think 37, that's the number off the top of my head. I think that Pritzker wouldn't be able to do that. It's like in 31 or 37 other states. You can't, Governor Pritzker would be termed out and done. But not in Illinois. Not in Illinois, where every Friday afternoon I see the, 70-year-old women out in their protests for no kings and stuff like that. But they're like, vote for Pritzker. They want kings. They just want them to be on their side. And Donald Trump is not on their side. So they put their effort and their energy into trying to create some sort of narrative, to paint some sort of narrative that Donald Trump's out there trying to be your king. This while they're in the state of Illinois and J.B. Pritzker thinks he gets to control every ounce of your life. It can be saved. I'm telling you right now, hustle up to the YouTube live chat poll and vote yes with me because it can be saved. You just have to care enough that it's beyond complaining about it. We will not save the state of Illinois or any of these other blue states. It will not be saved if the extent of your disgust is aired out on Twitter or, with your, I have one of these, J.B. Pritzker sucks wine glasses. I'm not opposed to, I like the mug or the cup. I use that. It's like my kids, when they set the table, they put that one at my chair. There's nothing wrong with that, but it can't stop there. It's got to go further than that. We have to invest in seeing the change that we want to enact statewide. We have to start here because if you maximize the vote in St. Clair County, in Jersey County, in Madison County, in Macoupin County, in all of these areas that are in our area, these are predominantly red places. They're common sense people. Even if they vote blue sometimes, vote red sometimes, they're common sense people and they know that it's untenable what J.B. Pritzker and a supermajority of Democrats in the General Assembly are lording over the people who are left in the state of Illinois. I had someone comment, Annie, it won't matter if we get a Republican governor because the supermajority in the legislature won't work with him or her. You think for a second that putting up a stone wall against the General Assembly's ability to reach into your pocket every time you turn around, and now they don't even wait for you to turn around? Wouldn't it be nice to have a statewide elected official in the governor's mansion who said, nope, not doing that anymore. Not while I'm here. I'm protecting the constituents from your never-ceasing willingness to take more of their money to throw at the stupidest things that you can muster. Let us know what you think. Can blue states be saved, yes or no, or keep them blue? We'll ask Brad what he thinks before we get to the results at the end of the show. Still an Illinois resident. And when we come back, local news and sports with Ethan.
Hey-yo.
And the intros this week brought to you by listeners as well. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
You up. Let's have a party. Let's have a party. I love you, Red Solo Cup.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan help you position yourself in the very best place when it comes to your mortgage. Brand new mortgage, mortgage refinance, cash out refinance. The Bagel Loan can apply to all of those things. Why the Bagel Loan? Why is it called a Bagel Loan? Well, I can answer both those questions at the same time. Bagels look like zeros, and Stewie loves bagels, and he wants to remind you when you use the bagel loan that zero means $0 in closing costs. They don't exist. You go get that brand new mortgage for that new home, so excited to move in. You get to the closing, and you got thousands of dollars of closing costs. Nope, not with the bagel loan, not with Stewart's American Mortgage. You can only get a bagel loan at Stewart's American Mortgage, and you can call them at 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. If you Google the bagel loan, you'll be directed to find out more information about how Stewart's American Mortgage and my friend Stewie can help you through and navigate this. It's going to be exciting, honestly, when you go through it. 314-324-4440 gets you directly to Stewie. All you got to do is Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, igotfloor.com.
Speeding while driving gives you less time to react. Another car could turn out in front of you. A pedestrian could be walking their dog. Follow the speed limit to keep them safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Family focused, faith filled, always on point. It's the Annie Frey Show.
Please don't stop the music. 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 Hold up. Check it out.
Sports and local.
Hannaford's How We Doing in the City.
How we doing in the city? Ooh, that's a good shirt.
Sports and local. Hannaford's How We Doing in the City. I said yesterday was my favorite. That one might have beaten it. That was really good.
I think these are all listener.
They are.
Yes.
Hint why I like them more.
Do you want that on a shirt?
Hannaford's How. You know what would be really funny is if just over the next few weeks, if we had all of them just in tiny print on a shirt.
Okay.
That would be really
Give
funny.
me a list.
Okay.
I'll make you a shirt.
Oh, that would be great. I would love that. So
I'll make Ryan a shirt, but I'll make it really small.
Yeah. Just like his personality.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Ryan. Don't make me feel sorry for him.
It would take a lot to feel
He goes
sorry
on
for
vacation
Ryan.
and he just trolls the show because he controls all the imaging for the show. So he just makes...
He asks for it. He
wants
totally
to,
asks
He
for
wants
it.
to be present always. And he is. Rent-free.
So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with the sports. If we have time for anything else, we'll get to local. But
which could also be the subtitle.
yeah, sports and then maybe local after.
Sports and local, but mostly sports.
This is a fun time of year for baseball fans, especially for Cardinal fans, because in the past. Oh, that's so sad.
They still have a winning record.
They do. 5 games above 500 at the All-Star break, which I think if you would have asked a lot of people going into the year, they would have said that that's a win for what the expectations were.
I was just going to ask you, if you were told at the All-Star break this would be the record, how'd you feel about that?
If you were to ask me how I would grade the first half of the season for the Cardinals, I would give it a solid B.
Yeah.
Based off what the expectations were going in.
The other thing,
based off what the point of this year is.
Yeah.
To find the young talent and to kind of,
the division
set that up for the year.
Is pretty decent comparatively. I mean, better than I think a lot of people anticipated.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone said this division was going to be wide open, and to a certain extent it is, but the Cubs are a lot better than people expected. The Brewers are doing pretty well, as they have pretty consistently the last couple of years. So now we're at the All-Star break. Most players have the chance to rest, recuperate.
We needed it.
Yeah.
My understanding too, though, and I've watched as much as I can. Obviously, I'm at the ball field all the time. It's just for 15 and 16-year-olds, not professional
Different
baseball
ball
players.
field.
But when you tune into the Cardinals game, in the last couple years, you felt like it was like penance. If you tune into a Cardinals game right now, it might be a really exciting game. It's worth watching to see what happens.
The style of play is different. The energy around the team is different because they are younger, right? And, there's still that tradition and that class, I think, that the Cardinals play with, but it's almost like there's a little bit of a remix to it, which is kind of fun. But yesterday and the day prior was a big day for the Cardinals specifically because the Cardinals aren't that team that's going to go out and spend a bunch of money on the market, right? They're going to draft and develop their talent. And, the MLB draft started on Sunday night, and the Cardinals had the 5th overall pick in that draft. It is the highest pick that they've had, I believe, since 1997. They drafted J.D. Drew, for all of you old-timer Cardinal fans out there that remember J.D. Drew. And
Number 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals...
Stupidest talent I have.
The Cardinals have had a really good draft up to this point. And there were some local kids taken as well throughout the MLB draft. I'll mention a couple of those names, and then we'll get into the Cardinals' big name that they picked. In the 8th round from Fort Zumwalt North, Camden Lohman gets drafted by the Mets. From Francis Howell, Jake McCutcheon gets drafted to the Marlins. Mascuda has a kid get drafted. It goes to the Brewers. Brendan Brock was a former Swick standout.
Way to go, Indians.
Nice. Yes, and so there's a lot of excitement around his name as well. And the Cardinals drafted a local kid as well in the 20th round with their last pick from Christian High School in O'Fallon, Missouri. Chase Heath, who also went to Central Missouri. So exciting to have. Always good to have the local kid.
What's the Christian High School?
Christian High School?
It's called Christian High School?
Yeah, it's pretty new.
I thought you were saying a Christian High School.
No, it is Christian High School.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Aren't they big on baseball?
I think so.
I think it's kind of a thing.
I think so. The
That's very
O'Fallon,
cool.
that area has a lot of great baseball.
Yeah.
The Francis Howells always stand
I'm there
out.
all the time.
You are? Over there?
Yeah, I've got to pack a bag.
On the O'Fallon, it's the Missouri side.
Yes.
Not the Illinois side.
No.
I didn't know you crossed the river for things besides work.
Rivers.
So a lot of local talent, which is always great to see. Now to get to the Cardinals' top talent that they drafted, Liam Doyle, starting pitcher out of the University of Tennessee, Rocky Top.
Good old Rocky Top.
I should have put that in as the bump music. That would have been really good. Liam Doyle, a lot of people excited about him. This was a guy that was expected to go number 2 overall. He dropped down to number 5, but the real reason that a lot of Cardinal fans are excited about him is because he's basically the strikeout king of college baseball this year.
Did you see the video out? I hope I'm not scooping your story here, but there's a video out about him. He's doing an interview. I don't know how far did they go in the postseason?
Tennessee?
Yeah.
Really far. They made it to the College World Series.
I think... I can't remember the game. I'm not going to guess. But huge game. He's, I guess, you said he's a closer?
He's a starting pitcher.
But he's a strikeout king. Okay. Well, there's this guy's up to bat, 2 outs, and I think he had 2 strikes on him. And the batter calls timeout. And Doyle is doing an interview with somebody and is like, what was going on there? Did you really say? And then they ask him what he said. Well, they show the video, and Doyle, the batter calls timeout, and Doyle looks directly at the batter and says, "You're effed." But he doesn't say effed. And he says it like straight-faced. He's not like, he's not Johnny Rocker, like being crazy and stuff. He just looks at him and like, matter of fact, you're screwed. I'll put it that way.
So
and then the interviewer is going, is this the video?
So this is one of the videos. This is a kid that plays with a lot of emotion, a lot of passion.
And the interviewer's like, "Did you really say that to him?" He's like, "Well, listen." He goes, "I don't like it when an offensive player calls timeout. I think that kind of sucks. It's not going to get me off my game, but it does piss me off a little bit more." And then he throws a 98-mile-an-hour strike and strikes him out, and he's pretty jacked.
It was pretty awesome. Yeah. So this is a big game, big moment. And
bad
like you
language,
said,
children. We do not support that. We're working on that when we get them into the Cardinal way. None of these players say bad words. So
Never.
They don't.
Ever.
And that's why, really will be helpful to him.
Absolutely. Well said, Annie.
Thank you.
This guy led
Wink, wink, moms.
Led college baseball in strikeouts per 9 innings this past year with 15 and a half. He tops out at 101 miles an hour on his fastball. That is his best pitch. And there's people saying that if the Cardinals wanted to, they could put him in the bullpen this year.
Huh?
He could be in their major league bullpen this year.
He's going to get rough.
Now, that's not I doubt the Cardinals do that. They're pretty conservative with their prospects.
Do we that is it more likely we see that if the Cardinals are fighting for a playoff spot or are not?
I think that it's more likely if they aren't fighting for a playoff spot, but I think regardless, they will not do that. But they're saying that regardless, even if they do want to put him through the system, he becomes a starting pitcher as is expected. They're saying he could be up by a year from now as a starting pitcher. That's the hype about this kid.
Who was the other pitcher that we had when Wainwright was coming up? There were
Michael Wacha was a big one. Shelby Miller was another big one.
Might have been Wacha.
Carlos Martinez, Luke Weaver.
I think it was.
Oh, Wainwright. Wainwright was a little bit earlier, though. Yeah. I'm thinking a little later.
We had two prospects, and we were hearing about prospects, hearing about it, and then, of course, Wainwright comes in, and was he the closer in the 06?
I'm trying to think. Wainwright came up, and he was the closer because Isringhausen was hurt, so Wainwright took over in the bullpen for him. I'm not sure. But the Cardinals added a lot of strikeout style pitchers in this draft, and they needed that, to be quite frank. But it is exciting in today's day and age of baseball. You're seeing these top talents get to the majors quicker than ever. So there's a lot of talk that this Liam Doyle kid could be impactful for this Cardinals team a lot sooner than people think. So, and in today's day and age also of how expensive starting pitching is, these guys are getting $200 million, $300 million contracts. The Cardinals just can't compete in that market. So it was almost like you have to draft your next superstar pitcher. And a lot of people think the Cardinals did that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Corey Malone just texted me and said Arkansas owned Doyle this entire year, especially in the World Series. So he's just a little note there, comfort service getting in with the Woo Pig commentary.
They did beat up on him a little bit in the College World Series this year. Yes, they did. I did see some things about that. Yes. Saw some Cubs fans giving some heat to him.
Yeah. I don't know. It's excited to hear about these prospects coming in.
It'll be good. Yeah, it'll be fun to keep
Corey,
up with.
get back to me in 2 years and tell me what you think.
Solid draft from the Cardinals. Randy Flores does it again.
Well, like I said, Corey, when the Cardinals get a hold of him and shape him into a very upstanding, you're screwed. He just looks at the batters like, you're screwed. He does not say screwed.
He does not say screwed.
When you get to St. Louis, you say screwed instead.
It'll be interesting to see how you go about that because you obviously want him to keep that emotion, that fire, but there is a way to class it up a little bit and to do it in a professional manner.
And you're going from being the strikeout king in college to the show.
Everyone's the best at that level.
They're looking to eat you up and remind you that you're in the literal big leagues now.
So that is Sports and Local. Hannaford's How We Doing in the City today.
But mostly sports. Thank you. That's a good one. How are we doing in the city?
I like it.
I do. I'm going to put that on a shirt.
That shirt's going to be great.
It's going to be great. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, X's and Y's. What are some questions that you have for the opposite sex that you've always wanted to ask? Brad and Ethan representing the dudes, and Trisha coming in to help me represent the ladies. We'll get to some of your questions and ours next.
Like the
Shield Foundation Repair, leveling out the concrete at your home and your business and making sure that you don't have those trip hazards, those unsightly broken up concrete slabs that separated and then erosion kind of causes them to get worse. When you have Home Shield Foundation Repair come to solve this problem at your house, it's a cost-effective way to get that concrete level and to make it look nice. Once again, using polyjacking with a polyurethane foam, it gets injected under the concrete to raise it up, to level it out, and yes, it comes with a 5-year warranty. Home Shield Foundation Repair and Matt Hayes will come to your home, assess the situation, your business, and see what you're dealing with, and then they'll tell you, here's how we can help. And they'll be very honest with you, so you know going into it exactly how this process is taken care of and what you'll be looking at as far as cost. 314-227-9636, 314-227-9636. Home Shield Foundation Repair will take your phone call and make sure you mention the Annie Frey Show and tell them we're the ones who sent you. They'd be happy to hear that. 314-227-9636, HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
Today's YouTube live chat poll: can blue states be saved? Yes, no, or keep them blue. We're also giving away Creed tickets here pretty soon, so be sure to continue listening for your opportunity to win those. What'd you say? Real soon, Annie says. The time is 2:36. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Built in the heartland, for the heartland. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. X's and Y's.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show, X's and Y's. This is one of my favorite segments that we do on the air with each other here, and we invite Trisha in because I need a little more backup on the girls' side of the aisle. Trisha, hi.
Hi, Annie. And
Happy
crew.
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
We use this as an opportunity to ask each other. We've got Brad and Ethan in here. Ryan is taking a few days off, and he'll be back on Friday. We're asking questions about the opposite sex. So really, you can ask anything. And, of course, we know that your families are listening, so we can ask and answer questions in a way that respects that setup. But we get to the bottom of it. Anyone have a question that they want to ask first? Brad, are you poised for
I got one
leading
here.
us off here?
Is being a girl as bad as Michelle Obama makes it out to be?
Yeah.
It can be. Yeah, it's not great.
It depends. What time of the month are we talking about? When you ask me this
About
question.
every third week. Not so fun.
Trisha, I don't think that men can ever really understand the things that women just deal with somebody was just saying yesterday, there are women who train for their entire lives to like go to the Olympics, and they might have to do the thing they do the best on their period. That's a huge factor. That I know someone was telling me that I think as part of, I don't know, understand the betting world or whatever, but there is something that on Polymarket or something that tracks the cycles of WNBA players so that you can use that information to make smarter bets in the WNBA. And my first question was, people bet on the WNBA?
Have you not? Oh my gosh.
I don't know how to bet.
Some of the most viral videos right now on X that I see are betting on the WNBA, and it tends to be like, okay, like will Angel Reese, like betting that Angel Reese will miss her first shot.
How many me-bounds?
Yeah, true. Too many.
Smartest thing she did was copyright that. You know she did that?
Did she seriously?
She's trying to trademark
I'm not surprised. Did you see she's going to be one of the cover athletes for NBA 2K26, the video game?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to buy it now.
Convinced me.
Obscure fact.
I don't know. What do you think? The question is it as bad as Michelle Obama? I think she's just unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle Obama makes it about the way other people treat women, and I do think that there's some of that in society. I'm not going to say that there's not, because there is to some degree, but no, it's not. For the most part, it's 2025. Like, oppression has reached an all-time low. It's actually gone the opposite way to now we're erasing women and everybody's a woman. But
yeah. You went a little too far.
We've overcorrected here to where it's like, I love women so much I'm going to be them. But so no, I think Michelle Obama takes it to a different extreme. But to Annie's point, our bodies do things, and our hormones do things, and our minds do things that are a lot different than men all the time, and we have to make that normal.
The other thing, too, though, on the other side of it, the Michelle Obama part of it, it doesn't seem like anything ever makes her happy, which is the problem here, because some of the greatest things in my life have to do with the fact that I am a woman. So is it difficult? Yes. Is it amazing? Yes. So basically, it's complicated. And the details are certainly different scientifically, but there are things I would assume that come along with a man that makes it very difficult because you're a man, maybe burdens you put on yourself or that you feel like society puts on you.
True.
I will follow up with that question to both of you. Do you think that there are things about being a man that are misunderstood in culture? Do you think... I could ask a cheap question. Do you think you have it as hard as girls? That would be the fun question that I would ask if Ryan were here. But I won't put you through that. Do you think it's easier to be a guy than it is to be a girl? And are there pressures that women don't understand?
I think it's hard to compare, right?
Because they're different.
Exactly, because they're different. I think that there are, more so traditionally, there are expectations put on the man to be the provider and the leader of a household that I think can be high pressurizing, and I think that still exists, but it's different now, obviously. And I think that there are a lot of struggles that women have to deal with, especially just in general. I think objectification of women is I can't relate to what that's like.
Yeah. It's a real thing, though.
But they're different, right? How do you compare like pressures that men face from certain things compared to women? I mean, to say that one is harder than the other, you probably could, right? But it's like comparing apples to oranges. They're just different things.
And to what end? Because really the strength here is when men respect and honor women for the differences that they endure, and women do the same thing for men. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, I couldn't answer which one is harder because I've only ever been a guy, and so
you can dabble for now.
Apparently now, yeah. I'm not interested in that, but
sorry, can't answer. I'm a dude.
Yeah, but I think that there are some things, and because of that, because girls have never walked a mile in guys' shoes and guys have never walked a mile in girls' shoes, I think there's a lot of things that each side does.
There are a lot of guys walking miles in girls' shoes.
Well, this is true.
And it is so uncomfortable.
I
don't know why you choose
I don't know.
that.
Of all the things to pick, I'd opt out of that one if I had the choice.
But my thing is like, there are expectations for guys, quiet expectations and things like that. But I don't think that guys necessarily could say, oh, yeah, we definitely have it worse. Because I can walk down a street, by myself without having to worry about, who's going to jump out of the. I mean, maybe somebody will jump out and mug me or something like that, but I'm less likely than a girl to do that. So there's like safety things like that. But the other side of that is too, guys kind of do get pushed to the side, especially in modern society, as far as boys in school and stuff like that, and that's difficult for guys. There's a big focus on raising children, the girl power, girls can be anything, and all that other stuff. And then that came from this idea that boys were doing so well that they don't really need that encouragement or that stuff like that. And it's even in some areas gone to the point where it's like you're a boy, so you can't really be good because you're by nature bad. That's more of the fringe stuff. But boys just get forgot about in school,
or like you're lesser than because you were the focus for so long, and now we have to overcompensate for that to where
and
you
women,
get neglected a little
like
bit.
postmodern feminism, they're hearing you say that, and they're like, yeah, that's the goal. You can sit down for a minute. And I think what we would all say in this room is, how about nobody has to sit down?
Right.
Well, we
because
have to sit down
that's
to pee.
true correction, is it not?
We could squat.
Trisha, you got a question? No, we can't squat.
Okay.
You get pee on the seat. And then I got to deal with that when I go in and I got to pee, and I only have 90 seconds to do it, Trisha.
Peeing against like a bumper and stuff. You've done it before, like
yeah.
having a squat. Okay.
In a field.
Right. Okay.
Ethan, what? You have questions? You need to interject?
No, I'll keep them inside for now.
Do you know what bumper peeing is?
No, I don't.
It's kind of like what it sounds.
Yeah.
You just sit your
I was
backside.
going to say, you're leaning on the bumper?
Yeah, the back half of your butt.
Yeah.
You sit on a bumper, put your feet forward a little bit.
A wall squat.
Where would you do that?
In a field. When
Field
you're
park.
at
On
a
a
party.
back road or
camping.
So when was the last time you did this? Like when you were 16?
I haven't done it recently.
Okay. All right.
I think I had to do it like
if you're camping. I mean, men pee everywhere. You guys pee everywhere.
Yeah, but
it's like
need a tree.
I was golfing with somebody one time, a group of guys, and they're like, "Dude, I haven't seen you pee once." And they're talking to the other guy, and I'm like, "Do you tally?"
It's a little bit less risk though in men doing it. I feel like if I was a woman and I'm having to pop a squat,
no, you get the bumper.
That's the same thing.
No, it's not.
You're squatting on the bumper.
No.
Are you not leaning your backside on the bumper?
No,
you're sitting on it.
You're sitting on it.
And the pee goes down.
I know, but there's more risk, right, from like someone seeing you, I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you meant peeing on yourself.
Yeah, that's what I thought he meant too.
No, I meant like someone seeing you.
It is more of a risk.
Yeah.
I'm saying you
got to have a good friend.
I'm also saying it's a more disturbing sight too than a dude standing.
I don't know. Depends on how much you see when
yeah.
a dude's
No.
peeing.
You know, Ryan's one of those guys who pees in the woods but pulls his pants all the way down.
Got him.
Will you make that a short and send it to him on his vacation?
For sure.
You take vacation, you're fair game, buddy. Visual.
Yeah, it's pretty scarring right now.
That reminds me of the picture we took of him at the St. Clair County Golf Scramble. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get to some more. Did you ever ask your question?
No,
Ethan's dumbfounded bumper pee, like, what are they talking
I'll
about?
save 'em.
We'll get to Trisha's question next.
Trisha.
Don't go away. The Retirement Advisory Group, Thomas Helbig, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, these are your people. Once you meet them, you're going to be like, gosh, I wish I would have known about this sooner. However, now you do, and we have a seminar coming up here in August. Guys, we're talking about August already. That's crazy. August 5th, it's a Tuesday at the Frontenac Hilton, 6:30 p.m. I'd love to see you there. I'll be there. And you can come, free event. They've got cookies and treats. I think that's an extra plus. It doesn't cost you anything, and they give you some snacks. And like 45 minutes of your time, 6:30, you'll be out of there before 7:30. And you can learn how the Retirement Advisory Group preps you for that transition. I'm talking to folks who are like 59 and a half. You're right there on the cusp. You want to make sure that you are fully prepared for this important transitionary period. And that's what the Retirement Advisory Group specializes in. So make sure you call and reserve your spot. You have to call to get a spot. Doesn't cost you anything, but they want to make sure they keep a seat for you at 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton, 6:30 p.m. RetirementKey.com.
On-time news. On your time. Download the Odyssey app and dip in whenever you want. And stay on top of what's happening. 97.1 FM Talk on the Odyssey app.
Call now to win free tickets to see Creed August 2nd, 314-241-9797. The 10th caller wins 2 free tickets. 314-241-9797.
Hey, what's up, flies? This is David Spade.
Dana Carvey.
Look, I know we never actually left, but I'll just say it. We are back with another season of Fly on the Wall.
Every episode, including ones with guests, will now be on video. Every Thursday, you'll hear us and see us chatting with big-name celebrities.
And every Monday, you're stuck with just me and Dana. We react to news, what's trending, viral clips.
Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall everywhere you get your podcasts.
Getting a new roof is serious business, and you want to make sure you're working with someone you can trust. Mark Cox here for Correll Roofing Company. My friend Curtis Correll is a lifetime St. Louisan. He's a local business owner, and he's running crews with over 20 years of experience. When Curtis gets on your roof, you can trust him to be honest with you about whether you need a new roof or not. He will work out all of the details with your insurance company and make sure you're getting the right roof for your home. He tells me he doesn't overcommit. So when other roofing companies do that, quality suffers, customer service can drop off. At Correll Roofing, they pay attention to details. They have quality materials and workmanship, and they use quality roofs that are built to last. That's what you want. They can also help you out with luxury line roofing like metal roofs and architectural shingles. Call 314-222-9529. That's 222-9529, or Correll Roofing Co. on Facebook.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Range. It's the Annie Frey Show.
Peace up, A-Town. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're wrapping up a little X's and Y's here. Questions we have for the opposite sex. And we were talking about the bumper pee situation. And honestly, that's mostly an if you know thing.
Clearly, I didn't.
But TJ commented on our Annie Frey YouTube live and informed us about something called a shiwi, which is something that helps women pee standing up.
Oh, I've seen those.
And I'm thinking to myself, if I have to pee and I'm out in nature and I'm like, can someone please get me the shiwi? I'd rather just sit on the bumper.
It's like a reverse bottle, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not Googling it.
If you were to ask me what a shiwi was, I would say those are things you see in Thailand.
Okay. Trisha, your question.
Okay, so I don't know if this is as much a boy-girl question or if it's a personality type thing, so I need help with this. But I found that I will speak in code, and I expect some inferring from whatever I'm saying. So I'll say, oh, we're running low on milk, and what I'll mean is go buy
get milk.
And what Eddie will hear is, oh, in the next couple of days, I need to keep that on my radar. But then I'll be kind of upset that there's not milk the next day.
Yeah. But you don't like tell him?
I mean, we have the conversation afterwards, but we kind of go round and round in circles. So I'm wondering, do men do any of that, like speak where they say one thing and mean something different? Or do you guys have like an internal monologue where you're...
I feel like this is where Ethan can talk to us some more about waffles.
I do like me some waffles. So what I was saying last week...
Which I don't think we ever got around to making the point.
I don't think so, too, because we got into a whole nother thing. Motorboating. That's what we got into.
Waffles.
Oh, yes.
Right. Is I was told this analogy that guys' brains are like waffles, right? They're nice and compartmentalized. And women's brains are like spaghetti because everything just overlaps
Is
and
this
is
Brad's analogy?
jumbled all together. No. Actually, my wife's the one that told me this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think of
Do you know your wife's code? Does your wife say, gosh, we're out of milk?
Not really. She's pretty straight up. I don't really have this issue with her.
Does she say, Ethan, go get milk?
No, usually she's like, I'll go get milk.
Oh
my goodness. You guys are young.
I was just going to say, that'll
Give
change.
it another decade.
She doesn't know her power yet. She'll come into
She's
that.
the one that usually makes the store runs, though.
Yeah.
Because she has more off time than me.
It's 10 o'clock at night. She's like, Ethan, we don't have any butter pecan ice cream. Oh.
She's super picky, so she would never say butter pecan.
What would she say?
Like vanilla with sprinkles.
Ethan, we don't have any vanilla ice cream with sprinkles.
Let's
and then
say,
what
sorry,
do you do?
babe, store's closed.
That's what she's gonna say. I don't know, Brad. Your thoughts?
I don't really do that. I pretty much say, like, if we need to get milk, I'll be like, hey, we're out of milk.
No. That's not the question.
Oh.
She says, oh, we're out of milk.
No, she doesn't.
You hear that and go, well, that's a shame. Or do you think, hey, I should go get milk?
With my wife, I would think, oh, that's a shame, because usually she just will tell me to go get milk.
So it's universal. Guys will hear
That's
what you say.
I'm going to say I have married the exception to the rule. But I'll say.
I think there's some learning involved, maybe.
Well, Jared knows, and he knows I know. When I say, oh, there's no milk here, he'll go, all right, I'll go in when I put the kids down or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or like he knows that I'm saying.
Because he's learned it. Though.
Yes. And I'm saying it playfully, not asking.
But do guys do that ever, where they say something and mean something else?
No, we're pretty straight up
No.
individuals. That's like the scene. Have you guys seen Inside Out? He's like, she's looking at us. What
Yes.
did she say?
Yes.
What did she say?
Oh.
And the mom and dad are communicating,
Inside
like
Out
not
is
knowing
a
what they're
Pixar
saying.
movie about a young girl who's kind of coming of age in junior high, and Inside Out, it basically show her internal brain has different characters. Joy, sadness is just I don't know why, but sadness is the funniest character I've ever seen animated. And met at Disney World, and she's just so sad. And I laughed the whole time, and I felt really bad about it. Sarcasm is maybe one of
Disgust?
them. Disgust is sarcasm.
Fear.
And fear and anger. And so you see how like all of these different emotions play into decisions that the person makes. But the movie's about a young girl named Riley. And every once in a while, you'll dip into like mom's brain, and she's got a whole different control panel, and I think maybe more people at the table and everything. And then the scene where they go to men. It's like
Dad's reading a paper, and it's like a TV on the screen, and then she's like, "Wait, hold on, she's looking at us.
Yeah.
What did you say?"
But mom's
He's like,
looking at
Sorry,
us.
sir. No one was listening.
And then at one point, they show some young boys, junior high boys, and like a girl comes across, and all it's going is girl.
They're all panicking.
Girl. It's so good. That's a good movie to watch. Yeah. I don't think men are speaking in code.
No.
Okay.
If they are, I don't think they have high expectations of it. I think if they want something, they'll say it.
Yeah, good
All
for
right.
them.
Well, we got to get to the YouTube live chat poll for today. Real quick, we'll go around the room. Brad, can blue states be saved?
Absolutely.
Ooh, an emphatic yes.
At some point, people will go, I can't continue on like this.
Yeah,
So,
or leave.
Yeah. But I think that there's people like you and I that have roots that are too deep to just pull up and leave.
Okay.
Yes, I think 2024 was a great example of that. We're starting to slowly move in the right direction.
Trisha, you think blue states can be saved?
No, but I think we should try.
Oh, that's a gambit of responses. What do the people say today?
235 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll. What I can tell you people weren't voting for was the keep them blue option. Only 3% voted that.
I'm shocked.
Very close between the other two
I think
options.
I can name the 3%.
49% say yes, 48% say no.
The 3% are going to decide. We can do it. We can do it. Stick it here with the Annie Frey Show, and we will continue to walk towards November of 2026. Those statewide elections are going to be huge, and we're going to cover it every step of the way. We're going to keep our eye on Missouri, of course, as well. You guys have some things figured out that we could only long to understand. But the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, next.
Man, the heat has been killer for our comfort in the last week or so. We got swamped, and I'm not going to tell you to call me when we can't take care of you in a reasonable amount of time. But I've been hearing this, and it's interesting to where people want to get prices for new equipment. A word of advice on what you replace it with if you do not call me. Keep this in mind. Don't jump the shark and say, well, the more I spend, the more my bills go down. You and only you know what you spend a month on your utilities for cooling and heating. If you were told you need a new air conditioner or you know it's just not working for you, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The only number, Missouri and Illinois, is 314-293-2600. God bless.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. Where do you go for your annual eye health examination? Ophthalmology Associates, of course. Doctors Greg Birdie and Ranjan Malhotra. Dr. Robert Bersati, he's the one I saw. Or Dr. Andrew Royer. They are available to you and are there to take care of all your vision needs at Ophthalmology Associates. They're on Manchester Road, a half-mile west of 270. Your vision is their business at Ophthalmology Associates. In fact, many of their patients are doctors themselves. That's why they call themselves the doctors, Ophthalmology Associates. Are your eyes itchy and scratchy? It could be more than just allergies. They're the leaders in dry eye diagnosis and treatment. They're the leaders in LASIK and discussing those procedures. And if you're having difficulty reading or driving at night, you have glare from oncoming headlights, could be early signs of cataracts, and they can talk to you about multifocal lens implants. Ophthalmology Associates, youridoc.com.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101, or visit fta-ria.com and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Partly sunny skies, very humid, 89, and there is a little uptick in scattered thunderstorms, some with heavy downpours of rain and lightning. Partly cloudy tonight, 74. Nothing but summertime Wednesday and Thursday, mainly sunny. Each day could bring a spot afternoon storm, but tough to find. It's hot and it is humid Wednesday and Thursday, each day near 95. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
News and rural radio stations, they suddenly balk. They say it's waste.
But Senate Majority Leader John Thune says the U.S. has a spending problem.
And the very least we can do in response is to target some of the egregious misuses of taxpayer dollars that we are addressing today in this bill.
Senate Republicans, though, have decided not to cut $400 million for a global AIDS program. And that change means if the Senate passes the bill, it will have to go back to the House. Just getting word the man accused of killing one state lawmaker and trying to kill another in Minnesota has been indicted by a federal grand jury. The suspect, Vance Belter, charged with murder, stalking, and firearms counts. The chief federal prosecutor in Minnesota has called the killings a political assassination. All of the victims, Democrats, attacked in their homes. The former State House Speaker, Melissa Hortman, and her husband were shot and killed. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife were shot multiple times, but survived. A late sell-off on Wall Street, the Dow down 436 points at the bell, but a record close for the NASDAQ. America is listening to Fox News.
Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmer.